I might just be stupid.
I don't know. If I was the MateChat host, it'll be permanent, lightning pylon thing striking your technical difficulties icon. So.
Oh, so I'm lucky there because it's only one frame out of four.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh, it looks like I had to do this for Icy too. So, I yeah, Ted's been silenced by the media. I haven't even turned his mic on.
Oh, but look, you can see me like glowing, so I can do like some binary.
If
Do
you're
do
being tied up,
SOS. Do
Ted,
some
can you like make it flashing
blink three
SOS?
times. Yeah, maybe I can do that.
Thanks, Carl. All right. As long as
Oh,
audio
I'm
sounds
sorry,
good,
I'm
we
actually
might as well kick off. How did the 21 sesh go?
yeah, it's all right. I actually made a little practice run for POW. I made one ages ago for just for like practicing. It like starts you like in the corridor before you've got to kill the second hostage taker. So you
Yep.
like open that door, kill him, turn, pause, um, and then also it's quite nice. You're like already in 2.3, but like you only have to click once to go back to 1.2, and then do the bug throw and then do the back strafe. Because yeah, last like serious sesh, my back strafe was atrocious. Um, so yeah, I finished that yesterday, and then I was doing a little bit of practice on that, and then I was like, I'll do a few attempts before MateChat. So yeah, no, they went well. I had one. I think it would have been a legit fail, but it was 22 because a nade went off really early, and I could just hear the like you could hear the lag, you could hear the lag, you could feel the lag. Yeah, I could just tell it was like a beautifully clean run, and it was still 22. So
And is that just
sucks.
because the lag makes it hard to go as fast, or
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I look back at it, I clipped it out, but it felt like nearly faultless, and nearly faultless is like mid 21, or even low 21. So I'm sure there are a few stucks that I didn't see or something. But yeah, I swear it's just a nade.
it's like, is it the worst node in the game?
I think it might be. I think it might be, especially because I don't even have plans to use that nade in double O in the task strat. So
Uh,
just a pointless nade, really.
what does it even exist for?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Doke's one mistake. Praise,
Giving the
praise
guards and
be.
frigate nades. Um, I mean, frigates, if I understand correctly, frigate is your favorite level overall. Is that
It is
right?
indeed. I don't know where you got that from.
Well, how many tasks have you done so far for frigate?
That is an excellent question. Um, well, I think before I was thinking about this. I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I think I always used to say like I'm not a tasser, but I feel like I might be a tasser now. But yeah, back when I quotes wasn't a tasser, I pretty much only tasked frigate. So I'm trying to think. I think I've done two for double O. SA, I feel like I might have done three or maybe two again. And then agent, I've definitely done two because I've done a 20 and a 19.
Yep.
Um, and then I even tasked an off-os, I think, off-os agent. Um, so seven we'll go with, but it could be eight. Could be eight.
Nice. And so is that like what is it that attracts you about the level? Is that it's like routing chaos. It's not like one point run from point A to point B as a lot of GoldenEye levels are, or is it something else that
Yeah, I think
attracts you?
so. I think that's what um, I think that's certainly what got me on it early. But also, I always like it's a good one for kind of the stuff I tend to look at, like the stuff I looked at and test about, is like things people have overlooked. And Frigate, you speak to anyone about Frigate, and they're just like, I hate it, like,
Yep.
oh, it's awful. Um, so I think it was always going to be like good ground, fertile soil for sort of slightly mad ideas. And then somehow it's just hard. Like new stuff is always there on it. I mean, I'm kind of hoping we got there with it now. Doctor Light because it's awful.
Well, I mean,
But
essays gone to a version specific strat to be able to work.
hell
So
yeah, hell yeah. Well, yeah, this is it now. We're into the waiting for all the records to be PAL, which will happen eventually, I think. Um, but yeah, it's kind of got all these. I think it's kind of something broadly I like about GoldenEye is it's relatively simple. Like, sure, it's not. You don't start like say jungle, right? Jungle's never going to get crazy sequence break or something because you start one end and you run to the other end, right?
yep.
Um, and it's super laggy, but good runners are almost on like the racing line. So, but that said, Frigate's still only got like what, three kind of routes, I suppose, because you kind of got something like coming in the roller door, right? Um, and then when you come up the ramp at the start, you can either go left or right, kind of thing. Um, and then yeah, inside you've got like the reverse pipe wall, but I don't think that's gonna happen even on Double O now. And also you got a bit of, yeah, there's kind of a lot of restraints or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of despite that, it's kind of there's always something crazy that can kind of work out. Um, and yeah, like I've looked at it for a long time, but then when I found this bug lane, yeah, I forget exactly like the kind of timeline of it, but I found that the bug lane on power. I think I was revisiting the bug lane because I was like, we should have a look at this for Taskmap, and I'd done it on NTSC. And then I think the idea just came to me. I was like, well, if we can't do a half, like a, because the lean is like a full lean. We need to sort out the terms on this, but like you lean to the
Well, the
left, right, and
tap
then
the tap is the
you
half lean, and the full lean is the
okay,
lean.
a tap. All right, yeah, let's go with that then. So yeah, even if on NTSC you go for a tap from like closer, it's still too short, right?
Yep.
And then if you're gonna go for a proper lane, then you have to go to the NTSC spot by the top of the ramp, and it's very tricky. So I was kind of like, what we need is something in the middle. And then it just kind of came to me. I was like, oh, on PAL, you've got something in the middle, surely. So then, yeah, I found a lane on PAL. But I'd been looking. I don't think this is known from TaskPad. I spent a long time looking to reverse pipe warp on essay, and it actually relied on the guy in the boxes room with the pipe. He has to pull a nade, and then you warp the pipes and run down the stairs, and he throws it in the corner, and it blows everyone up. um, and I was actually looking at trying to bring this to console. Like Sean was telling me, he was like, "Stop playing, stop this. Like you need to go play some 21." So I put a lot of effort into that, and then when I found this lean, like the power lean, even then I was like, oh, this is like better, but it's like close, It was like it needed something else. Um, and then Joey was just like, well, can't you defuse the bomb and then kill the guy afterwards? And then he whipped up a little video of him doing it.
Saving
And
the pause.
yeah, it was like, yeah, it's just that's what it is with Frigate. You got like all these crazy tricks, and now with these kind of task puppy strats, it's kind of finally something nice has come together in my opinion, nice. But yeah, it's just good fun. And I like the fact people don't like the fact that A doesn't come up much. I think double O is awful. Um, but SA and Agent Reverse Hostages, it's just like perfect, like because I've had a 22 like fail with reverse hostages, but I don't have 22, right?
Yep.
So it's because there's something more that I need to achieve more consistency before I can get 22. And of course you can cake it. For a long time I was giving Alka a lot of grief because he had 105 SA with no fails.
Yep.
But I've recently found, well, not recently anymore. Recently found out that IC has 102 and no fails, which is
Yes.
just disgraceful, frankly.
I mean, Dinah got 23 agent with only two fails. Old
Yeah, yeah,
strat.
true. Yeah, yeah. but we got him back in Taspat.
I didn't see if there was any frigate banter at Bohm between you and Dinah, because it's obviously his favorite
No,
level as well.
I mentioned it to him in the car. I think I tried to make the same joke of like, oh, did you enjoy all those 23s and test prep or something? But no, he was quite happy. So um, yeah, yeah, it was good.
And so,
Yeah.
well, you called yourself not a tasser before,
Mm.
but I think if I have my timelines right, your introduction to the GoldenEye community was basically through the M strat or OOK, depending on what title you want to give it. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, yeah. So I just briefly looked at my what do you call it? Not the times page, but like the history. Where is it? Yeah.
Yeah, like your post history on the forums?
PR history.
Oh, PR
Yeah,
history,
no, the
yep.
PR history. Yeah, it'd be good to maybe I should line up with the post history. But yeah, certainly I do remember if it's sort of finding the elite. It was to my shame through I think Goose's Aztec speed law. Certainly that's the main one I remember. Um, and then yeah, I found the forums and then saw Hemrick on there, and I was like, oh, this guy's cool. And then yeah, I think it was first. I think I modeled the attack ship ending. I think that was my first um, thing I did, but I wasn't on Discord at that point. So I think that was like my first interaction. Perhaps people remember me from that. I don't actually know. Um,
So to pause
but
on that for a minute, that's, if I
mm,
remember correctly, that's where if you position yourself just outside of the lift instead of actually right in the doorway of those lifts, the check happens more frequently, so therefore you're more likely to get the scared eye to spawn. Is that right?
that's right, but that's not what I only realized that later because this is what's quite interesting about it. So I was just reading what Henrik had put about the how it worked, and I just watched the video. I don't think I even had no, I didn't even have an N64 then. And PD didn't work very well in the emulator. So yeah, it still doesn't work well in like the tasking emulator. Um, so yeah, so I just took, here was Henrik's description of how it worked, and I was just like, oh, do a bit of a Markov chain, a little bit of modeling to like, show what the odds would be. And then yeah, it was pretty interesting because I imagine quite a few people looked at it and they were just like, oh, this is garbage because the results were like the odds were so low compared to reality sort of thing. Well, quotes reality.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been then. It's coming back to me now. It must have been Goose's 1 in a million video. It must have been like a response to that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, what I said. Shooter's odds were originally. I'm gonna go with like 1 in 110 or something. I think I said originally. But then yeah, Boss. Maybe he said about it later, or he replied on the forums, or I was on Discord at this point. But I just remember him being like, because his was one of like the points, one of the ones I looked at and said what the odds were. Um, and yeah, I said like getting that good or better was like 1 in 8, and Boss was like 1 in 8. What? It's like I grinded this shit, It's like how is it 1 in 8 sort of thing. But he was kind of yeah, I'd describe him as like skeptical, not like oh this is just crap, but like healthy skepticism. Um, and then yeah, of course, then later I found out that as Henrik described it, wasn't true unless you stayed out the door. Um,
I see.
so the kind of yeah the way we were modeling it with a higher frame rate was only or higher sort of tick rate of the skidder was only if you stayed out the door. But yeah, I don't remember when that was, but that was not for quite a long time, I think, because I
Oh,
actually
so
had to
that
kind
second
of
part was a later revelation.
yeah exactly. And then I did a bit of correction, I think, of those numbers, and I think now it's like 1 in 200 or something with for Chuyu's 206 ending.
Right.
So it's like yeah, I was closer than Goose, but
Yep.
but yeah, it was a little off.
Well, I mean, it's got to the point where Will has duped 206 twice. So there's been, what, a total of 5
Yeah,
achieved now, because Chuya got it, Ace got it, and Will's got 3 of them. So, I mean, like,
yeah.
it's probably not 1 in a million.
No. I think the new numbers seem to line up semi well with reality, and it also suddenly like the shape of the curve works because all those kind of best endings we've had, they sit at like a realistic maximum. Um, and then yeah, once you go even like 0.2 or 0.3 quicker or something, the odds just like plummet to 1 in 6,000 or something. But yeah, I was talking with Will when he was going for 205. Mostly, yeah, just sort of reassuring him around numbers and what kind of endings he should play out, and vaguely what his chance of getting a good, because it's like 145 or something. It must be when the elevator closes, when like the ending starts or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Somehow the number's 145. That's a good number, and then 146 is the okay number, I think.
Yes,
But
that sounds about
I don't
right.
know where that is in the run.
I mean, we've got
So.
Dr. Light and Mr. BK in chat that can confirm
Oh,
this.
it's the sharp. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's only 21 seconds away. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. If it was the bottom of the elevator, you'd have to get a move on.
I forgot that
um,
Light's a retired PD player and just a GE grinder now with the rest of
oh, is
us.
that true? Is that true? I hadn't taken note of that, but welcome to the light side.
So
Oh,
that was a bit of a distraction from the M strat OOK thing. So that was what happened after you did your attack ship analysis.
I think so, yeah. But just a quick question: can I kick mods as a mod? We've
I
got
don't know.
I play the bad game now, so disgraceful. But yeah, so back on track. What would have happened then? So I was at uni then. Was that my last year? Yeah, I feel like that was my last year. So so I kind of did that, and then that was kind of me procrastinating. And then I guess I got back to
I've
revising.
never
So
heard of a
yeah, I
uni
think it
student
was
procrastinating before in my life. It never
nah,
happens.
nah. You heard it here first. Breaking news. Um, so yeah, then I think I finished uni, and then yeah, Ook, the infamous Ook, must have been I think after I'd left uni, and I actually had some time to do stuff, I suppose. Um, but yeah, Ook Mstrat. I I hope to clear this up before, but Mstrat is like going further forward, and Ook is the family. It just became a big joke. All the names around Ook are just memes. But yeah, we used to call it the Ook Strat family, I think. So
Right.
Mstrat was like the easy version. So Taspap actually added a new one to the Ook family. We had a new Ook kid, um, but it's just even harder. So um, we didn't play it. But yeah, I'm afraid my timeline there is just I have no idea what it looks like.
But like,
It would have been. Hmm.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so it would have been again. I was more of a fan of Goose at that time. So it would have been based on his videos, I think. So I'm certain because I do remember this quite vividly. Is I remember him talking in his S1. It must have been his speed law, I suppose. Um, and literally he shows like a little shot that he. I feel like the camera was above, so maybe he'd taken it from the setup editor or something. But you can see like the two guards that are lured in Ook, and Goose is like, there is no way that this door can be lured open or something. And just straight away, I was like, well, look, you're showing us the guards. Like there they are. They're the two that are going to open the door, sort of thing. Um, so yeah, so suddenly I remember that was when I had the original idea, and then in a, I would say, sort of degenerate way that I kind of very much try and avoid the way I worked on Ook in all other things that I try and work on. I literally,
what was so bad about it?
I just opened the emulator. I had no idea how the game worked. Anything. I couldn't reverse engineer code in those days. I'd never. I barely knew what the like memory watch thing was, and I just sort of ran around and luckily had Hemrick's nice map. He has like an overlay map
Yes, the
that
lure map.
I've improved. That's the one that I've improved over the years. And I had that vaguely working. I think I was playing at like 320. What would it be by 240? That sounds about right. I didn't even know how to like make the emulator resolution higher or anything. And I just like ran about shooting and trying to shoot the guy through the wall from like all over the place. Um, yeah, so I do remember when I got it to work. So I'd gone up the tower to the left as you like look from the like door you're trying to get open. Um, towards the rest of the level. Like on the left, there's like that observatory. I think it is.
Yes.
Um,
It's got the
just kind of
barrels
a
in it.
cool little. Yeah, yeah. Maybe it's used in DLTK, I think. But yeah, I just went up there because I was like, oh, maybe like I'm on a different level, like a different floor here. So like I can, I don't know, shoot through the wall now. I mean, I could shoot through the wall. That was the thing. Um, but my bullets were just not doing anything. And I was up there. The spawn guards kept coming to annoy me, and I just kept shooting. And then eventually, I zoomed in, and there was this little brown spot, like 3 pixels, running towards me. And then I was like, holy shit, I've done it. And I had some poor, um, I don't even remember how I was capturing it. But yeah, I had some capture of it. Maybe I just about had a save state. Or I think actually, no, I don't think I even, somehow like I hadn't captured it properly. So I wasn't like entirely sure what I'd done. But it didn't take too long then. I was actually kind of on a more sensible route at this point, to realize that it was like the guard who spawned, who I was then like able to shoot. Um, and he was loaded as he left. Like I understood that. Um, yeah, and then once I understood that, it was kind of because I'd just been doing this sort of nonsense that I didn't even like know what I was doing. I kind of had my foot in the door then because whereas I'd been like, oh, maybe something's different from the top of the tower. Instead, I realized like, oh, anywhere where I shoot and these bullets are going through the wall, I'm in business. And then, yeah, I think quite quickly I found that if you shot over the corners of or perhaps I'd already found it, that if you shot over the corners of the buildings, you can also shoot through the wall. So then, yeah, quite quickly the kind of broad idea of like I'm gonna lure these two guys towards the door, and then I'm gonna go and shoot over the corner of the building, and then hope. Start praying. Came together. Yeah, but then I still sunk more hours into it. I think because I mean I still have very little understanding around a lot of the specifics of how like gods spin about and stuff, but like fundamentally it's quite messy. But yeah, refining like where to lure, because it's neat, but yeah, as everyone kind of knew when I dropped it, it was very impractical. But there was like a nice like task setup if you like lure them to slightly different spots. So like the second guard who comes towards the door, you lure like right into the corner, but then he really can't get there because you've lured like the other one a little bit further out. Um, but it was quite a like specific little bit further out, and it made it really consistent. So yeah, so I think then when I got that, I was like, I've got the two parts sort of thing. And then initially, suddenly, I was like, oh, I'll just go get the untyped now. And then it was like, oh, the community will go get the untyped now. And then it was like, yeah, that's not happening.
So you can
Yeah,
shine the
in
light, but
broad strokes.
they're not all following it.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I don't know, I can talk about Ook for a long time, I think. I don't know how long you want me to talk about it. But, suddenly I think, like, yeah, I really just didn't realize how, it was kind of honest naivety. Like, because you see, like, look at Facility 42. I don't know if it happened then. Maybe it hadn't. Maybe it was
No,
only
it hadn't.
43, but 43 is pretty nuts. um, and like, you look at those and you're like, oh, they could do all this crazy shit. Like, they can do one little lure and then another bit. Um, but yeah, that and and certainly also, I still will maintain there's a little element I think of the elite doesn't like new strats, and it doesn't like these kind of things. Because say like take like this dam thing,
Mm.
like no one's played it except like Boss a little bit.
Yep.
Um, Whereas like I'm not familiar with other communities, but communities where the game and it's the game really. I'm not even like I'm not even like blame. I wouldn't use the word blame. It's just like the way the community is. But I think it's because of the game. Like it's fundamentally like GoldenEye's like very robust. Whereas you take other games where like every year like the previous record is just smashed or whatever by some new sequence break sort of thing. Um, and also I suppose like it's we play ILs of course. So like people can just be like, oh, avoid that level. you know. Whereas if somehow it was a break that like affected the full game run and everyone played full game runs, um, then there'll be a lot more effort to beat it.
Do you
Um,
think that, well, both OOK and the piggyback strat on Dam, do you think both of those would be more likely to have been played if they were PD strats? Because to me, as an outsider, they look closer to something like the Skedar punch on Ruins, if you're familiar with that.
Vaguely, yeah, vaguely. Um, I think like isn't the button downstairs and you're upstairs and you sit on the
Exactly, yeah.
guy's head and you can reach the button and then you can still climb back up.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I think I was going to say this on the attack ship thing. Even now, a lot of my understanding of PD is very much like my understanding of attack sheet. Attack shit um, was when I like modeled it just following what Henrik said, but had no instinct for like, oh, why is it that players find this different, and then go and actually understand the level. Like I still have that with loads of the PD levels. I just I might understand some specific thing quite carefully, but then I barely know how to play the whole level. um,
What are the objectives in this one
but
again?
yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't name it. I mean, when I played, I did a Chicago. Wait, no, I did a full game run on PD. I think it was before. It must have been 2019 Summer League. Like I was unlocking the cart,
Yep.
um, and I got stuck on Chicago for like most of an hour. I think it was because I didn't understand that the taxi was yellow.
Oh,
So
right.
I thought that like the limo
Yeah.
was a
Was the
taxi,
taxi?
and and then I ended up like trying to do the world record strat or something because I was like, I don't know how to complete this game. So yeah, that was a tricky one. I think they could have, maybe on the power cart they could have written taxi in like massive letters on the side of the taxi just to help us Europeans out. So. But back to your question though.
Oh, because it's because you're used to black cabs over there, I guess.
Well, in London,
Yeah.
yeah, we certainly don't have any yellow. I don't think we have yellow cars. I can't think of the last car I saw that was yellow. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I assumed it was on fire or something. I don't know. But But yeah, I think Ook has just like got some fundamental problems, and I was a little bit, Kelly's a big mate, but I was a little bit upset when Kelly like took the records down to very difficult, because the thing is, it like snubs uh, anyone trying to use Ook really, because like you know, it's what's nice. I think I'd compare it to like this Frig essay, it's like Frig Double O now. You can play like the SA strat, the new SA strat. Um, but you just have to get a grenade on the way down, and then throw it to free the engine hostage. Like that's the task strat that
Yep.
could be done on console, right? But what's nice is like you can play SA and get good at that, like get the world record at that or whatever, and then you can roll into Double O, right? Because it's like you're adding these new difficult things.
Yep. They're skills that build on top
But,
of each other.
but you've already got good and consistent. You got consistent at the lane. But if you didn't have SA, like if there was only Double O, there's no way. Like even I mean, I've only played a little casually on the SA, but I do plan to stick at it. Um, like there's no way I'd play the Double O strat because it's like it's too intimidating. Like you've got um, so yeah, first off, you've got the lean, right? The bug lean.
Yep.
You've got a grind a nade, which is 1 in 10. You've got to not get shot while you're priming the nade, which I think is reasonable odds. But yeah, that's still going to be like painful. You've got to throw the nade properly, which who knows how hard that is. And then you've got to have probably like best spot for him. Um, Nearly best spot probably, but unfortunately, possibly even best spot for the SA hostage. But well, no, maybe not. No. He should be okay. Yeah, so say second. So he might be. Let's say he's 50%, even being generous.
Yep.
And then there's some slight. Bridge has got to pick best spot, but then also there's some slight problems with him because it's to do with how you like run out and then you look up to do the lean. If he's not out of the bridge by that point, then like you get problems.
Because you
So
got
like
to
there's extra
reload him.
problems there. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you put all those together, and like Double O just looks like horrifically intimidating. I mean, this SA strat, I mean, in a way, I like did give up. Like I played that quite a bit in Taskbat again with Sean, like play 21 in my ear, and I was like, I'm just gonna play whatever I feel like playing. Um, but no, I did take a little of that wisdom um, from him near the end. But yeah, the SA strat, is quite grueling. I feel like I've got to a point now where I play it and I see results. But yeah, like there's no way if the SA one didn't exist, like there's no way I'd be playing the Double O one. And then yeah, I feel like that's a little bit like I mean it was already the case a bit even with where the records did sit. Um, but even more so with Cali really taking taking
Take him down even
surface
further.
surface one's task. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think it makes it more intimidating. Um, yeah, I might visit it again, but I don't know. I'm much happier on the frigate stuff, so
Yeah.
maybe eventually someone will play it, but I can genuinely potentially see it never being played. Um, but hopefully not. Hopefully someone plays it eventually.
Someone might at some point. At some point, I can't remember whether it was the in the reaction to TASPAP itself or in the aftermath of the secret knowledge being compromised. But you made a
Mm.
comment somewhere about, oh, I tried to learn from mistakes that I made with the OOK and release of that.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, for sure.
I'm interested in hearing what you kind of learned there and what your reflections were on that.
Well, yeah. What I was referring to there specifically um, was very much this idea that like I teased Ook, right, and this was just misjudgment, and then I very much dug myself into my trench, and there I was on the forums with my inner keyboard warrior having come out. Um, yeah, I think yeah, it was well. The main thing what I changed was this idea of like the pre-announcement, as Cole points out. It's just not. It's yeah. Again, it was being naive. I was like, oh, they'll find it funny or whatever. Like a couple of people found it funny. Everyone else is just pissed off. So, yeah. So I very much took like a serious hard line of like, yeah, no leaks, no hints of anything. And yeah, even a week, I was like, well, a week was too long with Ook.
Yeah.
um, obviously the announcement as well was going to like contain nothing. Um, it's just going to be like, there's this horde. Um, yeah, wait a week. But I was thinking less than a week. I was thinking like, yeah, I'd only vaguely like planned out in my head, but I was thinking like, surely it'll be on a Saturday or whatever. I was like, maybe we'll just like announce it Wednesday evening or something, you know. But yeah, I was really quite because yeah, it's a bit interesting when you because it's my first experience hoarding, of course. But you get around poking people, um, so you're trying to sound them out for something or whatever.
Yep.
So quite a few guys in the task pad commented because I'd share a few print screens or whatever of how like tight-lipped I was, or you know, frankly misleading, just to try and play down. Coy is the word, the kind of word. But I think that was Sean. Sean called me very coy. Um, but honestly, I was like, if you're not in TestPap, you're not knowing anything. There was no like, oh, you're a friend sort of thing. Yeah, I just really didn't want any leak because as I saw it, and I imagine we'll get on to talking about the B2 and JD. As I saw it, like if kind of it was kind of known, oh, there's a horde with Whiteted in it, like I think immediately people would have been there would have been all the reaction of like, oh, I'm not playing anything now, and yeah, clearly he's hoarding scraps, and because even in the in the fallout from the B2 stuff, um, I was kind of amazed because I was being very careful with my words. And still, people were like, "Oh, it's gonna have all these strats in it," and what? And I was like, "Damn it!" I was like, I thought I'd played this down, I thought I'd like misled everyone. I was like, why are they still insisting that like there's loads of new strats in it? Which I I think the word there that's very interesting is new because of all the strats in there, like they were all kind of new in different ways, which I thought was quite cool. Um, but um, but yeah, I've been doing well keeping my train of thought, but I've lost what the original question was here. So you'll have to remind me.
It was what did you learn from OOK that you applied to TASPAP, basically?
Oh, okay, yeah, exactly. So yeah, so this is it. I've kind of been elaborating on the main point of just no leaks at
Yep.
all, and then people can be there happily playing Egypt, which they should have been. I mean, I think yeah, before I before Tazpap actually released, but like we'd said that I was coming on MateChat, I was kind of expecting it more to be like, oh, I'll have to defend myself or whatever. But I
Yes.
feel like Taspap itself, was received very well, so that's kind of dissipated a bit. Um, but yeah, it's um, yeah, I feel it was just like keep it locked down and don't let any leaks out, sort of thing. So.
I mean, like, I was obviously part of that with getting a Frigate 23, but even us Frigate 23 players were separate from the main TASPAP group.
Oh yeah, yeah, and even I didn't nothing even anything frigate didn't come out there. I did a bit of a like because all this it was all on my a lot of what I did was like premeditated. So like I like shared some of my 21 fails in there. just almost to be a bit like, oh yeah, we're definitely sharing everything with you guys. Well, I mean, it's clear I wasn't sharing everything, but I felt like it would almost give the impression like that we had less, because I was being quotes more open with the frigate server. But yeah, it really was. That was foremost in my mind on everything. I mean, we did actually have a one person. I shan't go into details, but the B2 strat did actually leak to someone um, before it leaked properly.
Right.
And then that person was talking, because it's all, like I say, you got all this like incestuousness going on, because when you're sounding people out and all this, then like you end up talking to people and this person talking to that person. So yeah, the person who knew kind of hinted that they knew to one of the other guys in Taspat, and then all hell broke loose. And yeah, for about 2 minutes, I was pretty mad until I kind of got to the bottom of it, and it wasn't a problem. But like that's kind of the extent I was really like, keep it locked down, keep it locked down. And yeah, Bug, was very much of the same opinion. Yeah, he was good for kind of this level-headedness, I suppose. And yeah, early on, it was a lot of like planning who to include and what to go for and this sort of thing. But yeah, we kept it tight. Like no one joined without some purpose. Purpose, like exactly because it was like we want them to be like a full member and not have kind of these friends and kind of like hang-ons or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a very interesting one.
So before you talked about being in uni, and you've obviously got, at least these days, seem to have a pretty heavy technical knowledge of the game. Like, is there an overlap of the skills that you studied for at uni or have developed through work and overlap into the technical N64 code knowledge at all?
Yeah, yeah. I won't talk too much about that, but yeah, certainly not so much what I did at uni, but there's a surprising, because yeah, obviously I work in software now. Um, there's a surprising amount, especially because yeah, I do like low level stuff. I've become much more familiar um, with that kind of yeah assembly code and such. Um, and so I think yeah, of like the reversing stuff. I mean, I got into it. From GoldenEye, it's more kind of like, in that sense, at least initially, GoldenEye reversing stuff fed into work, and then now there's more of a bit of a back and forth. Um, it does mean sometimes I come home from work and I'm like, oh, what shall I do? I'll do something similar to what I did at work, but like on GoldenEye. You feel a bit like the joke about the German guy playing like I don't know, it's like forklift simulator or something. Like,
Yes.
I got home from a long day at work at the on the forklift, and then he opens up like forklift simulator. But yeah, so because of that, I do try and avoid that a bit. But that's really like what I enjoy about playing GoldenEye. I think it's like I really don't play that much, but if I'm not too tired mentally after work, then it's such a nice thing to like pick up an evening and just run about for a bit. And especially also because um, yeah, I think most people have seen my streams and like seen that I play other stuff and I'm awful, like yeah, Egypt, because initially in Taspat, which would have been absolutely hilarious, I was playing the tile warp, kind of
Yes.
attempting to reinforce and convince some people in Taspat to play it, but increasingly they were like, nah. And we were trying to get in uh, originally someone to play for 43.
Yes.
But then it kind of just ended up with me playing Egypt. And I duped 48 on Doubler like 3 times or something. And then I was just like, please, someone play. But of course, it somehow worked out very well that MDC was re-announcing because he'd said he was thinking of doing it or something. You know, I'd I'd spotted him in lobby saying something about Project MDC, and then he said again, uh, it was like, "Oh, Project MDC is go now" or something,
Yeah.
in lobby, and then I just scrolled back and saw it. So it's like an hour after he posted that. um, that I just whipped him into Testbot, and then he was very keen to play Egypt. So I mean, that kind of conversation, I can probably bring that up to describe the kind of coyness that I went for.
Sure.
Let's see. We had a bit of chat about Egypt that I got to scroll back through. Holy shit. Maybe the original conversation's further back than I thought.
But this is
Too much
about
Egypt chat.
when you invited MDC to join. I don't even know. Might not have even been called
Yeah,
TASPAP
yeah.
at that point.
No, it was because he joined quite late. In fact, in Taspap we were talking a little bit like kind of like, is it too late sort of thing. Holy shit! How can I not scroll back far enough? All right, we might have to bench that. I think we've chatted too much since then. I don't know. Discord's like pretending to scroll and not really go very far back.
Just doesn't go. So I guess
Yeah.
from that,
Who knows? Who knows?
from some of that technical knowledge that you've developed about the game, is there any like weird things that players do, or like a myth or something that really annoys you when you see them doing it?
Ah, too many. I think too many. I don't tend to remember these kind of things, but definitely there are myths. I mean, I've even developed word because Jacob, Tide King were both in Out Heaven, and he occasionally pings me about something. And I think, I don't think I made this word of Tide Myth. I think probably it was Irie or someone. But I've kept it alive because everything he asked me, I'm always just like, nah, this is a Tide
It's a
Myth.
myth.
I mean, sometimes it's not, but I still initially say, yeah, Tide Myth, yeah.
It's
Um,
just the sequel to the
but
clone myth.
can I? Yeah, it's definitely been stolen from that. Can I think of anything specific? I don't know. You have to wait till I watch something. I think the thing that annoys me the most at the moment is these look up cell warps that I feel people are doing for the wrong reason. And I can't watch if I watch someone playing B2 and they fail like even two but three lookup warps in a row. Like that's it. I'm like, close stream. I can't watch this.
So when you say
So I
look
suppose
up
that's not
worps,
a
do you
myth.
mean like looking
It's
at Nat, or just like flat out not looking at the floor?
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Looking at that. Yeah. Because just briefly, it's certainly the way to go for 20 because you've got to slap and pick up the key like the instant you're out the cell.
Yep.
But for 21, you don't need it at all, and it's all well and good. Some people have got consistent with it. Which is fine. But it's so easy to get consistent with look down. Like, and you just watched like, especially if anyone new starts and they start doing it and look up, it hurts deep in my soul. So I suppose there's things like that where at least I feel whether I'm right or not, like that I know better from like a technical point of view. But no, I can't think of any that are too specific. Um, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's something, but my mind's blocking it to keep me sane. So.
And is there a B221 some point in your future, or is that gone?
Well, the problem I got now is if we bring up the ranks for B2, which is a bit quicker to scroll through. Well, there's still quite a few to scroll down through. Is I'm sitting at the top of the 22s, you see.
Aha.
So it's kind of like I'd quite like to sit there.
It's as
It
good as
is
having a
it is only
21.
31 points. Well, I tried to get it at a little race with Luke, Australian Luke, and when he was going for 21,
Yep.
and I had a missed nat, and I did actually miss the tape, but it was so troll the god like pushed me out of the way,
Yep.
and that was 21. So like I'll have like paced it, but yeah, it would take me a little bit of time, I think. And I find I play 1.4 on that just to like make it friendlier on my hands.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, I still find it's quite, I don't know, something quite awkward about doing the start and then the rest of the level. But yeah, I think I should get one eventually. Maybe we'll put it in. To be clear, TaskPap 2 is still just a joke, but if TaskPap 2 does happen, maybe I'll put it in TaskPap 2 just as a
Save it for TaskPap 3.
funny little skit. Yeah, yeah. Oh, also, sorry, I just see from MDC. Yeah, the interesting little thing on how he joined. Yeah, of course, because he was in FreakPap first. Um, so invited him to FreakPap from him announcing Project MDC, and then yeah, he said, "Ted, you've got something else." And I did play a bit coy with that. I was like, I knew we were going to get there eventually, but I did something like, oh, name. I looked at his times page, and he had 46 sweep on Egypt. I was like, name some levels that you like, and I think it was like number 3 or something. He said Egypt, and I was like, we got something on that.
I need a player for that.
So yeah, and honestly, I think yeah, starting my own questions here. Favorite part of for TaskPap was definitely the reverse hostages. Like that was always going to be my favorite part. But second favorite, I think, was MDC's Egypt stuff because he just absolutely smashed it. Like he came late and he still like he ran out of stuff like tech for us, like tech that we had for him to use. Like he did frigate, he really did Egypt, like including LTK. Um, and then it was like, you got anything else? I was like, no, you've eaten us, you've eaten us out of house and home. We've got nothing else for you. So.
And what was it that made the Frigate 20, well, the reverse hostages, sorry. What was that that made that your favourite?
I just always had the I really liked the idea. I hope some other, I suppose it would be a bit tricky to copy, but I just loved this idea of like a second horde because like hordes can get quite big. I mean, Amalgamates kind of had something similar going on where it's like different hordes come together.
Yep.
But there was something quite nice about like you were in the horde, but you only knew about that 3 second segment, like a 3 minute rather segment. I found that very cool, but I just there was something nice about like there was something nice from the point of view like I'd said about reverse hostages on the forums.
Yeah, I remember reading
And being
about it
like
ages
and
ago.
being like people do this, and then it's like 2 people got 24s. It was like, oh, okay. So there's something nice about like, yeah, I told you about this a year ago and you didn't listen. There's a little bit of that, but I always had this. The somehow I didn't quite know how it was going to work, but it was like 110% realized in B Down's edit of like it's slowly dawning on the viewer, like holy shit, there's a lot of these. I didn't I didn't know how it was going to work, but genuinely when I saw B Down's edit for the first time, like I was properly like moved, I was like, holy shit, we did it. Um, and yeah, so for me, that was it. I was almost actually disappointed by the reaction, but I suppose it could just be like stunned. People were kind of stunned into silence. And then JD was just like, oh shit, this really was the route after all.
Yeah.
Like, oh great. I lost 15 points.
Well, I mean,
um,
there've been 3 more 23s since TASPAP now, so.
oh yeah, isn't I think it's on 24 is on 50 now. I think it's hit the clean 5-0.
And
Let's
won't
forget
be
the
even
list.
new proof worthy soon enough. Yeah, you're exactly right. 24 is worth 50 points.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's a proper achievement. Um, so yeah, I just loved it from a, and also it's like to me that's kind of like it was nice to have like a common goal sort of thing. So in a horde you've got like, and how we were kind of a bit different to other hordes is
Yep.
most were kind of like here's a group of people and here's their personal achievements. They personally decided this is what I want and they went and got it. And we're like celebrating that or whatever. But the frigate thing, at least from my point of view, the individual players might have been like, gimme, individually, I want these points. But to me, it was really like, I guess, because it was like I was looking at it from like a management point of view, it was always, the end goal was always 10. I was always after 10 23s. So
Right.
it was like this, this everyone pulling together sort of thing, and it's like, oh, we've hit eight. And then, yeah, suddenly it was like, because we're actually thinking about the edit then. Because a lot of, a lot of the Rig 23s happen quite late. So
Mine was literally
suddenly
the
it was
weekend
like,
before TASPAP.
yeah. So suddenly it was like, oh, um, 12 will be a good number because it tiles well. And we had the option, which was good because I had 23 that wasn't in there. But obviously for me it wasn't the PB, so it kind of made sense to not be there. So I could have made up numbers if we'd have only had 11, but it would have been a bit disappointing. Um, so yeah, that was to me when we hit the true 12. Yeah, and then when I saw B Downs at it, I was like, oh, this is amazing.
And
um,
well, you say there
yeah,
was
so
12, but then there was Samo too. So I was in the FrigPap server, but I had no idea that Samo was onto this as well.
yeah, well, genuinely, I it's funny because so few people knew. Few people know that I just forgot. But it was basically me, Berg, and Samo who knew. And he got it a little while ago, and Berg had been quite busy towards the end of TASPAP, so like he was less involved, sort of thing. Um, and I won't say we were dashing about to do the edit because obviously we left the dashing about till the last minute. But yeah, then Berg messaged me and was like, I don't think he said you haven't forgotten Stammer, have you? But I was like, oh shit, I forgot.
That was the sentiment.
But obviously it was still before the 12 edit. I just hadn't thought about any numbers. So yeah, there was a bit of like, oh, what are we going to do? But the thing that was amazing was like his little speech in it,
Yes,
and
his reaction.
we only had like a 2.5 minute section for all these amazing 23s. So to bulk it out, um, it kind of there was no reason to move on so soon. So I thought it would work quite nicely having like you think it's all over. No, it's not yet. Um, and then yeah, and then have Samo with his little speech. The only thing that I was slightly concerned about is again I pushed quite a hard line in the frigate server of like you're all going to be in it. I can't say exactly what the edit's going to look like, and if you make your little edits like Yendis and Dr. Light made an edit, it was like that's nice, but I can't promise you what the ending's going to look like. But I did say I was like, oh, like everyone will be featured equally, sort of thing.
Yep.
So I was a little bit like, well, someone's kind of been featured more than the other guys, but I didn't think anyone was going to feel, snubbed by it.
I think
And
everyone loves
and
a
you know,
Samo react anyway.
yeah, the reaction was great. Just hold whatever thought a minute. My laptop's not plugged in, so give me
Okay,
one sec.
no worries. Yeah, screw that Samo guy. Hey, Dr. Light. Bastard. Although this is the part where Ted's gone away, so we can say terrible things about Ted instead of about Samo.
I'm back to hear them though.
Oh,
We're
damn.
plugged in now. I think. Are we charging? I could go get a tea if you got something to get off your chest.
No, no, but if you need a break to go make a tea, we can have a cup of tea break.
I've, I've still got water here. I'm okay.
All right, all right. And with playing Bunker 2 1.4, do you still use the TED grip for that, or do you play something, or do you play holding something else for your 1.4? Uh-oh. Have we lost Ted? Maybe his laptop died. I think we've lost Ted. Bring you on instead? Alright, hang on. Let's MateChat part 2.
Oops, we had a bit of a TED crash.
Oh, it's look, it's my
I
stream. It's
think
got
it
some
didn't.
technical difficulties.
Oh, sweet! It didn't like uh, it being plugged in. Apparently,
It didn't what,
I
sorry?
think that was a problem. It definitely is charging. Let me check. Oh yeah, it's charging. Okay. Yeah, yeah. It didn't like being plugged in. Apparently.
Yeah, my
Hey,
like my
I'm
work
back
laptop
now.
doesn't like doing that with during the middle of like Zoom calls and stuff either to it. Like, you know, it must like power the CPU down to then go back up to more cores or something. I don't know, done some weird shit like that.
Yeah, I still. Yeah, this laptop is interesting because yeah, I bought it like quite new. I was like waiting for it forever for it to come out, and then yeah, still managed to get like the some bugged version that even like updating the BIOS and updating every driver ever still seems a little unhappy sometimes. So yeah, apologies.
Oh, look, it's like any Windows box ever. They're never completely happy, are they?
That's true. That's
It's
very
it's
true.
like owning an old Fiat car that, you know, as long as it starts and keeps moving, you're okay. But you know that it's going to break down on you at some point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do have Linux on this as well, so yeah, sometimes I'm on instead, and it seems happier. So.
I guess so. The question that I asked before was, do you use your famous or infamous TED grip if you're playing 1.4 as well?
Yes, yeah, I do. I do. So yeah, I use that whenever I play 1.x. But
And how did you even come to the TED grip?
it was just being determined to play with my right thumb on the stick.
Right. Which,
You know,
which
when I
for
started
the
playing,
record, is how our Lord and Savior, Dr. David Doak, has been playing the game
he
for
does
25 years.
indeed, and I may actually be make me laugh. Um, I may actually be coming closer. You know, as I become more enlightened to Oak's grip. I'm thinking of cutting the D-pad up um, and playing over there with C-like buttons on the pad.
Right.
Um, but as stands, coming from only I've only played casually. Like I played some more modern some Call of Duties when I was in sixth form. When I was 16 or whatever.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, I always played on Xbox, and then even when a little bit of uni, I played a few on PC. I still played with an Xbox controller, which was pretty nuts. And I did used to get a little bit wrecked by these people who can like turn instantly. Um, but yeah, so I used to play um, on Xbox, and I used to go around, like kind of quickscope people. And so I feel like my right thumb has some kind of skill that was worth trying to insist on playing with the right thumb.
Yep.
So yeah, I forget when I picked it up. I've certainly never played left thumb, so I think I played D-pad to start with. Because certainly I remember asking in Spec, who was still kind of around, um, what he did for his D-pad grip, and he was saying how he just put a bit of paper under just the up part of it, makes it kind of a bit nicer.
Yep.
You can actually feel when you're strafing, whereas sometimes it feels like you don't move it at all as you try and move from like one strafe to the other, or it just feels like a jam. So you're like, oh, I'm pressing hard left now, but still you're not pressing left. Um, it is horrible, the D-pad. Doke, you have to ascend to Doke level of genius to be able to play with that thing.
I see.
Um, but yeah, so I may change from Ted Grip. Maybe Ted Grip will be a thing of the past. I have seen guy who seems very new. I'm not even quite sure I need to say his name. Miracle, like with a stress
Oh,
on the
yes.
Miracle, because it's got an O in it.
Yes, it's like
Um,
Moracle or something. Yeah.
so he's got his own, and it's still right thumb, but he like reaches across the front um, to put his fingers on the C buttons.
Oh, so what, like, is it a mixture
Um,
of right thumb plus keyboard?
yeah, I guess so. And I was playing with it, and in one setup, it kind of seems quite nice. But he actually has his thumb for pressing the B button. But if you do that, the grip's a bit less comfortable. But
Hmm.
yeah, it actually seems quite nice for if you just have your thumb on C left, your index on C right, and your what's that one called, middle finger on C up. That seems quite comfy. So yeah, I'm considering moving to that. But whatever I do, I'm going to keep the right thumb, I think. So.
The right thumb is the important part.
Yeah, yeah. I feel I'd lose whatever talent I have if I went to left thumb. And I'm left-handed, so you would expect my left thumb to be better. But I don't know.
I don't know about that. It's about it's yeah. I think it's about the skills that you develop. Like, you would be as a British resident, if you've ever driven a manual car, you would have mostly changed gears with your left hand. But if you went to
Yeah,
North America and left hand drive vehicles, then you'd be changing manual gears with your right.
yeah. If they had any manual gears, that would be. But yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know when I came up with that. I don't know when I posted on the encyclopedia, but that's probably my greatest post. I love the 23/10 difficulty. So.
The other part about the
Something
TED
about it
grip is that
tickled me.
it's really close to the anti gravity, at least in the visuals.
Yes, yeah. I know the meme grip made somewhat less of a meme. Um, if I get an untied with it, it can't be a meme grip. So um,
Yes. Well, I
hopefully
mean,
I'll get 21 with it.
if you get a world record like Frigate 22 with it, it can't be that memey.
True,
In fact,
true.
also not just a world record, that was an untied sleigh, I believe, was it not?
It was, but tier 5 world record as graded by me. Uh,
Right.
I think at some point someone mentioned the tiers. I take a the bit of the Hollywood view on the tiers,
The tiering.
and I think they're a little bit silly. So someone mentioned something about it, and then I just put like I was being semi serious, but I was like, oh yeah, I think 22 should be tier 5, and then Joris was like, oh okay, thanks. I was like,
Right.
done myself out of a tier 3 record there, or
Well,
I
so
could have just lied.
how is Carl's all 1.2 22 compared to the tiering of the 2.3/1.2 combo?
Oh, okay. You feel you advocating for separation of ranks based on control style now? Is this where
Oh,
we're at the Sterling point?
I'm advocating for separating of tiers by control style.
Okay. Well, a meme for meme, I suppose. So, um, yeah, I think you know the movement is obviously very good in his 22, but it's just like, why would you play that strat? Because I'm
Uh,
pretty sure when he was playing for it, because Ace had the 21 bug failed and the 22 rather,
22 by fail, yeah.
and then there was a bit of a gap, and then he played for it. But I feel like in that gap, 2.3 was brought up, and it always that was the thing that bugged me was always that he was grinding away for this
Well,
21.2.
when did Golden
It
Greg
was like
first develop the 2.3 strat?
I'm gonna say 2012, 2012.
Right. Been around for a long time.
So, oh yeah, it's been around forever. But certainly Carl knew about it before his 22. But I suppose it's just a kind of different mentality. I never look to like play a level seriously if I don't think I'm playing the right strat, you know.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I swear he's mentioned at some point in one of his videos or something, like, oh yeah, you know, it's going to go low or it's going to be with 2.3, which
Yep.
to me is kind of like, well, why don't you play 2.3?
Yeah. I
um,
mean, at that point,
just,
maybe if I'm trying to put myself in Carl's shoes, I think he was just trying to have stream content. So you could stream Frigate for 5 hours a day for 3 months, and
yeah, not
eventually it would happen.
streaming, not be grinding cinema. Yeah, no, fair enough. Um, but like I say, exactly, it's probably a different mentality and, like you say, different reason for what he was doing it. Um, but uh, but yeah, nonetheless, it still bugged me. And Ace played, was that for Amalgamates?
Yeah.
Wasn't for Project. Well, was it for Project 2020?
Project 2020.
He played he played a lot of 1.222. And yeah, again, it's like why? So hopefully now, that's yeah. Hopefully with Samu's amazing speech, people will only play reverse hostages or 2.3. So, yeah, if Ace comes back with the 22 reverse hostages, that'll be sick.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That would be
Yeah,
pretty
I
cool to
think
see.
it can happen. I've not got a proper completion on practice ROM. I haven't played that much on practice ROM, but I had like I think I had a 23 Aeon Green on practice ROM. But yeah, so like it can definitely be paced. But yeah, it's quite hard, quite fun. So
Still need to push it. So I found 23 pace easier with reverse hostages than the historical strat. So I don't know, maybe 22 pace is easier for the people who can actually play the level well.
I think definitely pace it for Bond is, but it's about getting that near taker kill in time. But then yeah, I swear I was looking at one of my videos somewhere of me. I think I made some attempts, maybe post taskbar, made some attempts with it. And one of the runs that was pace and was you know, it was legit. You look at it and I look so relaxed in the hostages room. So it really is bizarre how time. I swear, time runs differently in that hostage room. Sometimes it runs really fast, and sometimes I swear it almost like runs backwards.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
no, I think.
time in GoldenEye just runs really weird.
Yeah, for sure, sure. But no, it's definitely don't have to go in there and be a task. You don't have to like land double headshot in 3 frames or something. Um, so yeah, no, I think it should happen in the sense that there's enough resistance to the 2.3 that someone good will go for it.
Yep.
So yeah, that'll be cool to see. It was a dream in Taspat. Because yeah, I think that was going on in the Frig server. Um, yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, Clem's anti
It wasn't
2.x
likely like
rhetoric is pretty high, so maybe it's the type of thing that Clem might
that's
play for.
true. Yeah, where he was very happy with the idea of getting Egypt 44s 1.2.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, definitely Clem could do it. So that would be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting. Bit of a change of gear here, but
Oh yeah.
the name Whiteted, is this like where does that come from? Because it doesn't seem to have anything to do with your GoldenEye name either.
No, so this is interesting. One. I actually answered this in Bohm. Someone brought it up. I can't remember. Maybe it's some of the guys. Um, but yeah, it's been my sort of just username for quite a few things online for quite some time. Because yeah, it originally comes from the name of teddy bear as a kid.
I see.
I was very imaginative. It was if anyone wants to Google it, they were the Persil bears, like born in '96, and someone gave it to my parents when I was born.
Mhm.
Um, and he stuck about when I was a kid. I can still remember when I told he wasn't allowed to come with me anymore. We were like, out on a family walk or something, and he had to stay in the car because I was too big now. Um, so yeah, he's got a very storied past. Another famous one was I put him in a bag because I was worried about him getting cold. We were going we were going on holiday. I don't think I had any concept of suffocation then, so yeah, I zipped it up tight. So yeah, I just completely forgot. So we went on holiday. Also, I think we went away for a long time, but maybe not. My memory's not great now, and it probably was worse then. So maybe we just went out for the day or something, and then we put this bag under my bed. See, um, so it wasn't until literally like months later, we're talking like 5 months or something, that I pulled him out, pulled the bag, opened it up, and he's there, smiling up at me. So yeah, he's been some places. He's in my parents' loft now. So yeah, he's happy. I hope he's happy.
The problem with Bohm for me is that most of that was happening while it was in my sleeping hours. Bad
Yeah,
overlap
it was
to.
only when we went super DJing that we saw you drop it. Um, but yeah,
But that looked
sometime
like a fun
we'll
meet.
have the. Oh, it's great. Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was just so funny. Because I've known Kieran a little bit. Like I've seen the stream a little bit. Um, Dinah is a fan of frigates, so I've been there quite a bit. Um, but yeah, we didn't like know each other.
Yep.
And then Dano is, you know, he's making loads of jokes about him being tired, so he's always, been somewhere near the age of retirement. Um, yeah, and he was hilarious. Nothing like I imagined him actually. Um, and then we get there and his wife's there and she's all kind of like, "Oh, what do you guys do?" Like, I'm used to know that like I have a job. It's like, "Oh, you have a job?"
You're not just a degenerate speedrunner?
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, and it's just everything was just hilarious about it. Like, he's a builder by trade, and he's been doing a lot of work on the house. So they got like this nice, front room where we were, and rooms upstairs are all nice, and he's put the new windows in and all this. And then his kitchen is like a bomb site. Hope he doesn't mind me saying, but yeah, he was saying he kept saying at the end how he felt like a teenager again, having done the meet. So it was just a great time. It's just yeah, there's something funny about like people meeting who kind of know each other, um,
Yep.
and then all sat around playing GoldenEye and in food and
I mean,
the
there's a
spillage,
reasonable
which we shan't
generation
mention.
spread there too, because Dan's my age, so mid 30s, down
That's
to
right.
yourself
Yeah,
and Kieran are mid 20s, if I am working that kind
yeah.
of out
Or
right.
I always forget how old I am. Genuinely. I think I'm 25 now. Yeah, yeah, I must be 25 now, right? Yeah. So yeah, Kieran's I don't remember, but it certainly is in his 20s. Um, but yeah, we did see the generation at 6 a.m. Monday, um, when Dan and Dinah had the drum and bass going, and I was just like, this sounds vaguely like something my brother listened to. So it's like, yeah, never heard of any of it. So yeah, that was quite funny. Me and Kieran like stuck around for 2 minutes, and then we were like, "Yeah, we're going to bed now." So yeah, that was great.
That's a
Really good
particularly
time.
British experience for that age, I think, too. Like the rave scene was a real thing there. I don't think it certainly wasn't quite the same down over here in Australia.
Yeah. So my brother was, a bit edgy, um, being into it. So yeah, he's 2.5 years older than me. So yeah, he was kind of reaching back a little bit to grab the drum and bass, I think.
Yep.
Um, But yeah, I've never been generally big into music. But even so, yeah, I was like, I've never even heard this played. At least it was like two doors between me and the music, and then my mum shouting at my brother to turn it down or something. So, um, but
And
yeah, no, it was phenomenal, mate. We were all immediately like, well, I mean, we had a bit of like alcohol to get out of the system, but then it was like next weekend. um, but yeah, we're still in 6 months, and we'll do another one. But
nice.
who knows? We might do something because Dinah's only over Birmingham, so he's not too far from me, and um, yeah, so who knows? We may do another in between. Can't wait. But something around Christmas maybe. But I don't know. We'll see. See what plans people have got. But we're already dreaming big on Bone too. We're going, renting out the elite mansion basically,
Oh, very
and just
nice.
get as many people in there as we can.
So who else are you expanding to?
Well, Old Ground was a bit gentle out, I think,
You missed the
that
invite?
we didn't invite him. But yeah, but it was quite a bit south of him, and I think yeah, we were quite cozy with four in the front room at
It did
Dan's.
look like it did look like the room was pretty full.
Yeah. So no, I think four was a good number. I mean, I think we had well, I don't know if it can be infamous, but I remember it well. Sitting in Elite Voice, me and him at like 2 a.m. US, like East Coast time or something. Um, we were just having a long chat about shit, and someone else came in for some reason, so it was a unique or grand TED chat. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan, obviously, like Frigate, and I'm semi fond of Streets. It's been a while since I played, but he actually got me into Streets because I was like, oh, he likes Frigate and he likes Streets. Maybe I like
I was about
Streets.
to say the two of you would have a lot to talk about then.
Well, exactly, yeah, exactly. So yeah, so wherever it is, it'll be further north this time. And yeah, we're gonna move. I'm gonna petition to move the dates if Old Ground can't make it. So um, no, it should be sick. It should be sick.
Hey, who knows if international travel's a thing by then you might even get a few others to come around.
Well, yeah, Yendis was particularly keen. Hey, good day, Wally. How's it going?
Take it, eh?
But yeah, no, I think there's a good chance we'll get Yendis over in 6 months. And he's got a job. He's, I think, experiencing the same as me as like first paycheck, like, whoa, that's going to come in every month. Like, not saying we're both on crazy pay, but, when you've like done a paper round, it's like,
Yeah,
and had an
getting a
in,
proper full time wage compared to scrounging together bits and pieces from part time jobs as a uni student or something. Yeah, it's a big difference.
exactly. Before that, I'd like had some internships, and like, they were both on, reasonable. I think yearly it would have been like 20K or something like this. Um, but still, you only see like one small paycheck and then one proper one or something.
See, 20K
Um,
sounds like very little money to me, but I know you're talking pounds, so it's not quite that bad.
pounds. Yeah, yeah. For an internship, it's if that's the yearly rate, that's
Yep.
too bad. Um, but but yeah, so when you're working an actual job full time and it comes in every month, so I think he should have some money to spend on flights. So hopefully flights are pretty cheap, and yeah, hopefully we can get him out or some other European guys. So
Yeah, that'd be pretty nice.
look up at 20. What is I don't actually know the conversion. What is the Australian? It's Australian dollar, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Oh shit! It's
Yeah, we
like half the value. Wow.
yeah
Okay.
yeah. When I was in the UK, it was literally $2 to £1 when I was there.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
much what I'm saying now. So.
yeah, it's kind of been around that for a little while. That's still actually stronger than what it was. It was $3 to the pound for a little while there. So we're doing all right.
Yeah. Yeah, not bad.
We kind of breezed past it before, but I want to know a little bit more about the history of Frigate 22. So like Golden Greg uh, originally found the strat sort of like 2012. That
That's what
sounds
I'm
like
going with. Yeah.
that sounds like a kind of golden era of, oh yeah, we've got this kind of quote unquote new uh 2.x thing. What can we do with it? And they're still kind of playing around with it and working it out.
Yeah, well, I feel like that date 2012 is I've probably got that off his forum post, and I suspect he is like I've found these few things and here they are compiled together. So I have found it even way before. I did see he commented on I think my 22. Um, he commented on it. Um, yeah, I don't know if some actual mention of where he found it, but certainly 2012 or earlier. Um, that he found it. Yeah, and then Icy made a post, and of course I was even more a fan of the forums back in those days. So I think would I have been around for Icy's post? I have to dig it up, but either I found it or he actually made it while I was around. I think maybe it was just before I was around he made it. Um, so I was like vaguely aware of it. And I don't really remember how I got into it. Maybe it's passing. I don't think I tested it before I like looked at it. But yeah, I don't honestly. It's quite a while ago because I played. Obviously, my 22 attempts were quite spread. Um, got my 22. It must have been just over a year ago now. So, September. Yeah, it must have been in August, I think, right?
The
I got
21st
it.
of August, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we're
Then,
nearly at 13 months.
yeah, but then I'd been in attempts in quotes for months. I remember in a bit goosey about it. He was like, "Oh, he's been grinding away forever." It's like no, it's like the way I play and the way, especially I played. I mean, even now 21, my attempts have been pretty like sporadic.
Yeah,
And
it's a
Sean
long
was
time
definitely
on the calendar, but not so many hours in the game.
yeah, actually, yeah. So I think it was 60 hours for 22.
Yep.
From that was pretty much from scratch. So that was from like my 2.3 PB was 30 something. Uh, um, but yeah, I think it's healthy. Um, I don't think I've got the DGen within me. In at least in terms of like playing the game. Um, so my longest session is like 2 hours or something. Um, and yeah, the keenness it's like I'm always keen for it, but sometimes I'm just like, I don't feel like playing. Or also, I don't feel like playing that. So yeah, I played a little bit on and off. So there were two like big clumps. So I played, I think it was even December or suddenly winter the year before. So what would that be 2019?
Yeah.
Um, and then definitely had a long break. Then I played a little bit. Seem to remember maybe March 2020. I played. You can probably see because I probably have other um PBs like because I would have only four then, wouldn't I? So I think I probably have some other 24s that we listed around um on the like you can probably see it. Let me try and bring it up. I just don't upset my computer.
There's a 24 on the 1st of August.
You can see it like on my Frigate 22, can't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, so we've got 26 I got on April 2019. And then oh, it's all out of order, isn't it? Yeah, 24 in August, but wrong year. Oh no, I'm wrong year. Oh, it's the way it's laid out is funny because they don't put it in date order. 19. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I haven't got what I thought I had. But yeah, I reckon it was. Then I played a bit in kind of late spring, um, and then came back and was playing quite hard because it was really close. I was just like getting legit fail after legit fail. Yeah, it felt like super super close.
Felt like it was going to happen.
Um, Because yeah, it really was. I was in Taspap. I was talking about like kind of how if yeah, like I was saying, Sean was trying to get me to go harder on 21, and I was saying like if found that I felt in a similar place to I'd felt just before I got 22, where it really like felt imminent,
Yep.
then I was going to go hard. Um, and I did, I did grind in my when I was in isolation, came back from the US.
Hmm.
It was that and that Dizzy Dingy's tasks were like because I was literally like locked in my room, um, and
It's like 2 weeks.
uh, 10 days, 10 days,
Yep.
I think it was. And I was at my parents, so they were cooking. And whenever I'm at my parents, my mum always tries to get me to do like gardening or uh, they've got dogs, so walk the dog or whatever. But obviously, I was banned from all this, so all I could do was DJing.
BDJ.
Yeah, and I didn't even have to cook. My mum cooked, and then came down Saturday, separate table. Like they were on the main table, I was on like the little thing we dug out the garage, so that I was further away from them. Um, it was kind of funny. I used to just be like, "Oh, can you throw the ketchup down or something?" Because my table was lower as well. It was really like the scum class table. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah, the kids' table
toss
or the
us the
servants'
ketchup.
table.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and then obviously, then yeah, go straight back up pretty much. I mean, yeah, I'd go out in the garden a bit, just vaguely get some fresh air or whatever.
Yep.
Um, open the window,
Yep.
take a piss. But other than that, it was like dizzy dinghies and 21 attempts. Um, and it would have been lucky if that 21 missed bug. If I'd have got that, it would have been a bit underdue because I think I'd only played. I think I was just under 50 hours for 20. I only vaguely keep track,
Yep.
but it would have been quicker than I'd got 22
Yep.
if I'd have got it. If I'd have got it. Um, So yeah, that was brutal. I still remember I could hear my parents like we just going to bed,
Yep.
um, and then it didn't really process until I got to the end, which I think was good because I was like quite focused, just play the run out, play the run out. Because on Break 2.3, you get some funny, like you can actually have the the bridge guard, the bridge hostage be released during the pause. Sometimes he's released late, and then you don't even see it. So there's like quite a few little funny things that can happen on it. So you always want to kind of put the run on the boat. That's what I think in my head. It's like stick it on the boat. You can think about it or whatever. Um,
Analyze it later.
so
Just do the
yeah,
thing.
exactly. So I jumped on the boat at the end, and then I saw. I did know I'd missed. Like I say, I hadn't really registered. And then I saw the A complete. And then I just knew I was like, it was pace, wasn't it? I was sure it was 21. And then yeah, my parents would just like I said, would just go to bed. I just like went downstairs and paced about with the dog looking at me funny. Because I didn't know what to do with myself, you know. Um, but yeah, I played again the next day. Bounce back.
Do you believe in the Joey 22?
God, what? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Do you believe in the Joey 22? Do you believe that you actually got the sleigh?
Oh, the other Joey, the other
Yeah.
Joey. No, that really bugged me. Briefly touching back on broadening on sort of things it did that bugged me. It really annoyed me that people, at the time, I'm over it now. When I got 22, even if it was then and they were like half joking, like, oh, yeah, but you might not have got the sleigh, might have got it before you, sort of thing. Um, yeah, it's really made me mad because it was like, it's so against, well, start there is actually the rule that I was very happy to quote with people that first to prove is in the dispute, any dispute on time or something, time achieved.
Yep.
First to prove is first to get the time. People seem almost willing to like throw that out the window for a joke and just be like, oh yeah, but he got the. What if he got the untied really? Like, well, yeah, I don't know. Somehow it was I think because I was after the untied, I said to people, and I've said since, because people seem to think that perhaps 21's got a name on it. But if someone posted 21 right now, like I wouldn't be mad at all. I'd be quite happy. I'd like to see it. But
Yeah.
22, the sleigh really, it had my name on it, and I was like, yeah. When I spoke to Paul, I wasn't like hands off sort of thing, but I remember speaking to Ace and at least expressing like, I want to get, the sleigh. Then the big wig can play for 21, which has yet to happen. But um, again, I think perhaps I thought it might be more popular. I think I was less. I wasn't expecting crazy popularity, but it's quite. No, it's very accessible. Like you don't have to be good at the game. Be quite good at it.
It's
And
a
also
unique.
now it's got
It's a unique skill. It's kind of like the.
uh, and the ending now has more in common with RH, so it's kind of more accessible because you can play RH for a 23, and then oh look, I've got the ending down now, so just learn the 2.3. But yeah, I was not happy. It's it really annoyed me, that whole business, and especially because this is the thing, it seems incredibly likely that he didn't get it. Um, and so it's like, why? I do vaguely, I wouldn't say understand, but I comprehend, people leave and kind of want to make a bit of fuss as they go out the door, whatever. But like, yeah, perhaps I should have made it clear to him how much it pissed me off. Um, but yeah, I would have quite liked if he'd have got it for him to have decided to post it after mine, and then I been like, I got the sleigh. um, but yeah, so I don't know him. I'm sure if we spoke, I could get on with him. I don't hate him. Like I say, I'm over it now. But I
Yeah.
do firmly remember the time. Um, I was very annoyed that he was like holding me to ransom, sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I did kind of respond to it because I think it was quite that drama was quite shortly before I got 22. So who knows? Maybe it gave me extra drive.
And the other great thing about 22 was it had my favorite world record video of last year, the
Oh, you're
David
very fond of
Attenborough
this.
edit.
This grew on me. I can't remember, someone rewatched. Maybe it was you. We rewatched it somewhere, or maybe you just brought it up. Um, but it grew on me because after I made it, I was obviously it's very in the style of the Out of Order Keys video, which I don't think it's
I didn't even
possible
realize
to
that at the time.
Oh yeah, to reproduce, what I think was really lightning core bottle. Um, that intro is just so funny. I mean, I made it and I still think it's hilarious.
But
But yeah,
yeah,
this one I tried for the same thing, and the source material at face value looks like it should fit because with the out of order keys, that intro, everything just like fit exactly. I think I was vaguely looking for a meme and I found that video. Um, and then you could just hear it, all the thing, everything, like the ice collapsing as he says like some cosmic change is happening or
yeah.
something. Everything about it was just like wrote itself, the ook one. Whereas this, I felt it was a little bit more forced at the time when I made it. But yeah, actually, I think it might have been you brought it up or something, and I watched it back, and I did have a little chuckle. So it's grown on me, this edit.
Yeah, it really tickled my
Especially
fancy.
there's a really good bit when the guy on the left here is talking. Who's the guy's laugh sounds like mine, um, and he says about pushing the button, and there's like this moment's panic between Attenborough and Dame someone or other who's there, and they both kind of turn quickly to look at the button, and I sped it up, made it double speed, and they both like snap to like check the button's still there. Yeah, they had a few moments to just made me laugh, and there where he's going on about up there and down here and up there. I just cut it so he just never says anything. Yeah, it's like the North Pole down there. It's up there, when in fact it should be down there. All this sort of nonsense. Yeah, no, that one grew on me. But I think I might be down with the atom bits now.
That was a good one.
Let me just can we just have a little loo break? Maybe we'll get a tea.
Absolutely. I tell you what we'll do. I'll actually just let this video play out in full. It's 5 minutes, so we'll
there we go.
Let the good people listen to that.
All right, sweet. Sounds good. Be right back.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, this country has been key in discovering what goes on down there. The British
Strut
Survey, an organization of people, and what they've discovered is that
2.3.
far from being remote and desolate, it is key to understanding what is happening here. So
Golden Greg
can be proud of the fact that it was key to the beginning of that source, that exploration. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, this country has been key in discovering what goes on down there. The British
Strut
Survey, an organization of people, and what they've discovered is that
2.3.
far from being remote and desolate, it is key to understanding what is happening here. So
Golden Greg
can be proud of the fact that was key to the beginning of that source, that exploration, and that had brought it to this spectacular climax.
The Untied Sleigh
Seemed as far away, as desolate, and as empty as it could possibly get to be on this planet. But actually, only temporarily. So our concern about
the current world record
is essential because
22.
it's in such danger. And so that our future and everybody's future will be affected by what people working on this ship, British scientists and others, will be discovering in years to come.
21.
Which we thought was so remote, but which we realize now is absolutely up here. Now we realize that although we have done a great deal about what goes on down there, now we realize that that remote place down there is in fact up here. What goes on down there at the North Pole, and what we do affects what happens down there, just as what goes on down there affects what happens down there up here in the Northern Hemisphere and on the temperate regions, affects the whole of down there.
And thank you, Sir David. Inspiring words for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment has arrived. The launch team advise that we're all good to go. So what I will ask is that we have a countdown from 5. If you can join me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. Launch. Launch.
The world is a beautiful place and it's worth fighting for together. I pick you up, carry you, ain't heavy, light as a feather. I would not give you false hope, I will not let you cry. I know you've been down that road so many times. Oh, come on. Sometimes we step into the dark to see the light. We only see the stars at night from our prison cells. Come on, come on. Sometimes we step into the dark so we can see the light. Holding on to hope so tight, like a wishing well. Come on, come on.
I mean, now's the time where I can say all those terrible things about Ted now while he's there and not able to defend himself again, right?
No, I'm back again.
Oh, damn.
My timing, as per Taskpat, is impeccable.
Impeccable.
I just watched the end of that and then I went to put my milk in my tea. So.
That's the answer to a question I didn't ask. You are a milk in your tea kind of person?
Oh yeah, black tea is desperate measures, you know. And
do you have a particular
no sugar.
style of tea? Is it Earl Grey hot?
Oh, I've had Earl Grey, but I'm told you don't have it with milk, so I guess I'm not so fond of that. But no, I always just have English breakfast. I mean, it's a bit of a thing in the UK. If we say tea, we mean English breakfast, whereas across the rest of the world, if you say tea, people are like, "Oh, what tea do you mean?" You know?
Right.
But yeah, sort of by default, with some kind of blend of black tea and a few others or whatever.
So if it's not English breakfast, then you would describe the type of tea by saying Earl Grey or something.
Exactly. But since we say the word so much, we have to come up with a compressed form of language, because otherwise, we'd run out of words. Would you like some black tea mixture every 5 seconds?
I didn't quite realize that it was ubiquitous to that point.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, then people, mainly would then differentiate on brand, because
yes.
the brands go to a lot of work to make sure that every year their brand tastes exactly the same as it did the previous year, which is pretty.
Yeah, that's actually a reasonably impressive thing. Oh, I suppose
apparently they have
whiskey makers and
team
stuff like that do the same thing.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Yeah, they have teams of tasters, and they, because obviously they'll get in I don't know, tons and tons from various farms.
Yes.
And then they got to work out how they want to mix them together, in order to make it taste the same. So
is that a dream job?
nuts.
Being a tea taster?
Well, it would be, but it's a dream I can't get because I also distinctly remember this from biology. We like put ink on our tongue and like counted the number of I don't know if it's some special ink, but I don't think so. But you can then like count the number of taste buds you've got.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then I don't think, perhaps it was entirely pseudoscience, but I don't think it was. And then people who have good taste have more taste buds. I assume there's slightly more to it. But anyway, I had the lowest taste bud count in the class. So basically, I don't have a very good sense of taste, apparently. So I don't think I'd get the job, but I suppose yes, that would be quite a dream job. I'd quite like that.
There'd be worse things to do.
For sure.
Wally asked an interesting question in chat a little bit earlier. Are you surprised that the way that you got 53 seemed to be a bit of a new meta with quite a wide line through the tunnel? Were you surprised that didn't take off?
Not really. No. Even I look at that run as a bit of a like, it's funny that it's so wild sort of thing. I mean, I'm not doing anything wrong in there, except I look down. I was not convinced, although it, as it happens, is true, that look up was better. I was like, sure, look down's going to be doing the same thing. So instead, I looked down in the tunnel. But the wide line is like, yeah. I mean, the idea is you slightly better. Yeah, you make the gate slightly better by going wider, but you yourself lose more time. But then I make that time up because I actually use look down in the on the. I do think the look down. I hope that. But yeah, something I need to post about actually because I looked into a bit more about how the dam gate actually works when during Taspa. I think because we were thinking of going for dam essay, and so rather than actually going for it, you can just procrastinate by looking into the tech a little bit more.
Yep.
So, but the wide thing. Oh, there you go. Yeah, we said I was struggling to think of myths that people don't like. I mean, that's just bollocks, isn't it? The idea of like having to play on full.
Yes.
Like, why? You know. So, but yeah, that's true. I've not really thought that one. So there you go. There's a good myth. But yeah, certainly people should wide if they feel like it.
I find the
And play on
line's
power.
much easier to pick on wide.
Yeah, I've moved about, but I've kind of kept the same thing because every time I played on wide, I used to play in 16:9.
Yep.
Because I play for a retro tank. You know, if you stream that, everyone just gets nausea. So I've got used to just playing in wide normal instead. But that is pretty crazy. If you could see my screen, it was pretty nuts playing on a proper PAL CRT because obviously the PAL CRT is actually bigger. But yeah, if you think I play on, I play PAL, so the picture's taller.
Yes.
In wide on a, I guess it must be 16:9, right? It's like super squashed. So I didn't really realize it at all. I mean, you can kind of see the text on the screen, like in the menus, looks nothing like the capture because it's all like squashed. But you didn't really realize it until boom when I saw, as Doke designed, how the picture's meant to look. And it was like, whoa, that's quite a lot less squash. So yeah, I've got used to it. I suppose if you get used to it, it's all the same, really. But definitely having the wider viewing angle is actually very handy.
Yeah, that's why I think
It's super stretched. I should take a picture really when I play next and show people.
Now, we've talked a lot about the number 21, but always in the context of frigate. We haven't talked about runway 21 at all yet.
Runway 21. Oh, yes.
So your forum, I think it's a footer on your forum, says former runway 21 consultant.
It does indeed.
So tell us about what went on there. How do you earn a title of former Runway 21 consultant.
Well, the former is just because Berg's got 21. I mean, perhaps I hope it didn't put JL off of speaking to me about it. But to be honest, Berg's the one to speak to. But it was just because during his time of playing 21, which he played. Yeah, perhaps I've picked up the style of playing quite spread out across the calendar and across the years even. Perhaps I've picked that up from Berg. I wouldn't be surprised. But he plays very much like that. So he could have been away from it for months, and then he's back on it for a bit, and then he sees how he feels and plays more or less, depending. So yeah, so it did used to say Runway 1 consultant.
Yes.
Because
Oh, we lost you. We might have lost Ted, folks. Uh-oh. We'll give it a moment to rejoin. Yeah, like it's definitely dropped off on Ted's side because I can see that his Discord icon has stopped lighting up.
hello again.
We
Just
can hear
Discord
you.
that time. Still don't know if that's Discord's fault or the laptop's fault. But Discord decided to crash.
Right. Well, you're back again.
Okay. Sorry about that as well.
So
Maybe I should have done this over on Linux. But yeah. So where was I? I was saying
Berg had a
same style
similar
of play. Yeah, and 21. Yeah, so during his grind, it said 21 consultant because at the time it was quite the like meme thing people were talking about. It kept coming back up about whether you were a believer in 21 or not. It was kind of there in a jokey sort of I'm definitely a believer sort of thing.
I mean, it feels funny to say now because it's happened, but it really that wasn't a common viewpoint among the community that it was possible at the time, right?
No, I would say not. Yeah, one of those things, I suppose, a bit like RH, where it did feel slightly nice to be like, I told you so.
Yeah.
And perhaps, there's a point on that, if I won't labour it, to say, like, when it came out, people were like, oh, but I would have been a believer if I'd have seen the juggle, sort of thing. And it's like, I always took a little bit of issue with people sort of banning you from believing in something when you kind of believing in the strat you hadn't fully seen out or something like this. I mean, it's like take Frig 00, partly because I hate the normal Frig 00 strat. I was always convinced there was going to be another Frig 00 strat because like it just seemed certain. But the mentality, at least from my experience then at the time, was kind of like it was very like if there's nothing tangible, then you're not allowed to believe in it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, it was a bit easier knowing, from our point of view, we knew the I knew about Bogue's juggle. It was being kept secret, but I knew about it. So from my point of view, I guess it was easier to believe in. But it was kind of just, I don't even, it's a bit like, I was thinking, I don't really know how I started talking to Sean. I don't even remember if it was for FrigPap, as we called it. It can't have been. I really don't remember how I started talking to Sean. I don't remember how I started talking to Berg. You just, start talking to these people, I suppose. So, I was just talking to him about little things, and we somehow started talking about more, and then at some point he told me that he had this juggle because maybe it was caverns. Maybe we were talking about caverns to start with. And then he was like, I've got this Berg juggle. And then, I kind of, on and off with him, I would look at it and look at new ideas and try stuff out. And
Well,
I did
remember
I made a good post.
Test a run where you shot the console screen in the hut to get extra boosts and stuff, right?
That's right. Yeah, my first 21 task was 8-0, I think. And I boost away from them with the console boost. And then get 7 more. But it was kind of funny, that one. Perhaps the second one where I shoot the nade.
Right.
Yeah, we were just trying stuff. I mean, I wasn't ever planning on a human shooting the nade, but it was a good one because it's so simple, but still there's quite a lot to explore, especially in terms of practicality on console. So I bounced quite a few ideas around, and I was fond of in my. I think I put in a world record discussion or something. I put some nice words together, and I put something like everything I thought of, we ended up not using. So in that sense, I didn't really have much input to the 21 beyond making the splits ROM, which very much wouldn't have been developed. Without Berg. I wrote it just by myself, and I've ended up using it for so much since. But I suppose maybe my Frigate 22 attempts would have encouraged me to make it. But
that was a key part
give
of
big
it, though.
credit to Berg. Well, it was how he found. I think eventually, and he agrees, he would have found that it saved time anyway. Because it was one of the big questions on his mind was how is it that these people on
Ace
essay
22's 22.
how do what is it that's so different about essay? But I guess it's the thing with GoldenEye still being a bit mysterious, especially anything around lag. Is it kind of seems obvious now because it's kind of the only thing that's different is that you throw the nade at those guards. But it shouldn't sort of be understated because there's so much, especially at the time, so much possibility of it could be the gods being more aggressive and this sort of thing. But also the idea that this big explosion with loads of little particles flying out and generally I was mentioning earlier my 22 today that definitely should have been 21. Generally explosions are bad. Is the broad thinking. So it really was, and even when he thought he'd found it, he was a bit like, "I'm gonna check because I just can't sort of believe
Can't
that it's
fathom that
killing
it's
these
that
two
bad."
guards." Yeah, with a nade that's saving so much time. So and I personally, I was happy when people were semi disappointed almost, or I guess they just had the wind taken out of their sails from their expectation as they clicked runway 21. Because to me that's the brilliance of that little hut nade. It's so simple. People didn't see it when they when they first watched it through. Because I'm thinking now it's 8-0, right? But I think when Clem watched it live the first time, he's like, "Oh, it was 9-0," because he sees that he's thrown 9 grenades.
Yes.
So it's. I think I never would have, like a few other things, perhaps PD included. I kind of inherit my interest in it from someone else. I don't think I ever would have got interested in Runway. But Berg made it interesting, sort of thing. So I very much enjoyed the 21, and of course JL's 21 as well is even cleaner, if anything. His juggle is literal perfection, to my point of view. I think Berg agrees, but always, Berg actually knew about Runway, so
I was just surprised that it was tied so quickly. Like I was not I was expecting it to be a multi-year untied in the way that Dam 52 is.
Yeah, but I think it's and it's the same with 22. I feel like 22 could easily have been tied by someone random. I mean, not to call jail random, but at the time, I think it's fair to say jail was a bit random when he got 21.
Yeah.
But you know the there's always the word or the phrase rather of level specialist, you know, and there's these things where they've got some major bit of tech that's quite unique, um, where you really can be the level specialist. So yeah, frigate agent, runway agent, um, and yeah, I think it's fair enough to be surprised, but at the same time, he like posted on the forums saying like, you know, here's my 800th 22 or something.
Yeah.
I remember Berg saying a few months before or something like, oh, he's going to get it in a few months. So yeah, it was no surprise in that sense, but in the sense, yeah, that someone immediately was like, that looks cool, I'm going to do it.
I remember him.
And
He
then,
kind of did the same thing as what Jack started with Dam 53, but for runway 22. Like he was going for runway. It must have been Agent 22 and couldn't quite get it or something, and then got NTSC and got it within 5 seconds after playing it on
oh
power for
right,
1,000 hours or something.
yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I think that's one where really the version does hurt. I think Pal's. Yeah, Berg would actually be able to put a number on his estimation for how much Pal loses, but I don't remember. But it's kind of a crucial amount because I mean, 21 is obviously very tight, and then 22 as well. If you play, you know, like look down nades or something, it's incredibly tight.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think Pal just pushes it off the edge into worse strategies.
Not quite possible. One of the questions that I normally open up with or go with quite early is like, how do you get into the game? And you talked about, you know, people dragging you into PD and stuff, but we haven't talked about how you got started out with Goldeneye, where you came into all of that from.
Yeah, so I guess it did touch it, but it must have just been one of Goose's speed laws must have got recommended. Oh no, I do remember actually. Yeah, I forgot about this. Oh yeah, I should have like prepared this in my head. This has just popped into my head. Yeah, somehow I found, and I actually made an effort a little while ago to rediscover the video, but like all these sort of ancient things from your past, it's kind of cool that you can't find them again. So yeah, it was like a Lego Racers, the first Lego Racers game,
On the
which I was
N64.
obsessed with. No, not actually. I played it on PC, and I think this was tasked on PC.
Right.
But I'm not sure. It could have been. We can pretend it was if we want. Um, but yeah, it was a task of it, and they absolutely destroy it because it's got a lot of issues with its checkpoints. You know, so you can like drive forward 10 meters, turn around, drive behind the finish line 10 meters, then turn back, and like that's a lap or something. It's yeah, it's got some serious problems. I can't remember if there's many more breaks to it than that. Um, yeah, so I think the TAS isn't incredibly exciting, but yeah, I watched a bit of this TAS and then or maybe I watched the whole thing, um, and then I saw yeah, someone had made some sort of video. I'm sure I will be able to find it. You know, I've been trained on the elite forums at searching for stuff, so my searching skills are impeccable.
If you can find stuff on the forums, your search skills are pretty
Exactly,
strong.
that's it. Um, but he was kind of ripping the game apart. You know, I guess yeah, it's similar to you know what the GoldenEye setup editor guys have done to GoldenEye. Um, and it was this. I distinctly remember it. There was like evidence that there'd previously been this shortcut um, on. I think it's the kind of the there was some kind of bat boss. I think she's the third boss. I think it was a she. She's like a vampire or something, so it's like a vampire-y level. And yeah, there was evidence of this like shortcut that used to exist but had been removed from the game. You know, perhaps at a late stage or something. And he could see as far as that, like you used to have to shoot this pillar or shoot a shield or something. Yeah, that's right. I think you shoot a shield on the wall, and then this pillar falls against like a castle wall. And rather than going through like a little gate or something, you go up and onto the castle wall and across. And I just remember, yeah, it was kind of like had some profound effect on me of like this idea that you can kind of something that's been removed from the game. This guy is still able to like reverse the game and then extract stuff and deduce that this shortcut used to be here. I thought that was just so cool, especially in a game that been like a huge part of my childhood. Yeah, there's some very famous pictures in the family album of me looking like a monkey as I there sort of open mouthed at Lego races. I was mad about it as a kid. I was quite mad about Lego as a kid. Yeah, so I saw that, and then I guess I must have somehow got into being recommended sort of speedrunning kind of videos. And then yeah, I must have seen. I think I saw one before Aztec. I mean, we could try and bother to work out a timeline, but the Aztec one is the main one I remember. Aztec Speed Law. Yeah, I just kind of.
And so was
I guess yeah, it was a similar kind of.
that you already had like a connection with, and the speed law just helped
Not
amplify
really.
that?
That's the thing. Yeah, not really. So apparently, I played it as a kid, but obviously, I was 1.5 when it came out, or 1 even.
Yep.
So yeah. So apparently, I did play it as a kid, but I imagine I just vaguely wandered about in multiplayer, getting shot at by my brothers. I doubt I did any better. Though I did joke that on the in our multiplayer in Bohm, I got -1 because I killed people, killed myself too many times or something.
Yes.
That was so hard, and definitely, Diner was. He knew he was good. He was trying to get us to put money on it before we played.
Oh,
he just decimated us. I'm still a little bit mad. I'd been running about on the final map we did, so I'd not really learnt the map, but I knew the bit that I ran along. And at one end of it, there's a room with pillars, and then there's a like little bit that sticks out, and there's a grate that you can't get through. So I ran away from him into there, and he fired a rocket like at the entrance. So I was trapped. You know, the explosion went off, and I was trapped. I was like, oh, it's all right. I know how long an explosion lasts, and then I'll run out. But he fired, and somehow it was silent. This is what made me mad. I didn't hear him. He fired another one into that, and so then when I ran through it, I died. So, yeah. So I imagine I got similarly wrecked as a kid. But yeah, I have no memory of playing it as a kid. Don't even remember the strange controller shape. So, but yeah, I would have played. I would have played Super Mario on the N64 and all this sort of stuff as a kid. My mum remembers playing Super Mario.
But like, it's not a nostalgia game for you then at all.
No. But I feel like I've got that in common with a good number of the elites. Who don't have that nostalgia connection. I can't say what it is about the game, but it seems to have popularity beyond nostalgia. So so certainly it did for me. And then like I say, I guess it was kind of responses. So like response to the 1 in a million video, response to the Surface One Speed Law with Ook, and then that actually made me pick up the controller, as it were.
Yep.
Soon put it back down again, but nonetheless carried on with the game. But yeah, I don't remember much of I don't really know what I played after that. It might have been Caverns. I have quite a long history with Caverns. Because I still have 103 on Agent, yeah. Which is quite funny that my SA task beats my Agent console PB. which is definitely a thing.
103. Your 103 is 29th of June 2019. It was worth 21 points when it was set.
It's worth 0 now, unfortunately. So yeah. So I think Caverns must have been what I played early. And then Frigate maybe it was a little bit later actually. I've still got the Frigate Agent up. Oh, okay. Frigate was when I first started actually playing the game, which was the start of 2019. And yeah, I do like this on my Frigate 30. It says, pretty happy overall. Matched Sarah's time, which seemed out of reach for a while. So I had a bit of a joke rivalry with this guy called Sarah.
Yes.
I was kind of like comparing my times page. I don't think he plays anymore, unfortunately. But his times page, I suppose, is like mine, but without the frigate times. So not incredibly impressive, but you know, he was also quite new. So yeah, I used to compare, you know, on the like compare player thing. I used to compare to him, and yeah, I think yeah, he got 30, and I was like, oh, this seems tough, you know. I really have to work to get 30, you know. So I think it's quite crazy that, you know, I'm 8 seconds lower than that now and going for 9 seconds lower. But, you know, I can still watch the run and remember, like, oh yeah, I found that hard, you know, like, so I guess that is fundamentally the appeal of Golden Eyes, you know. It's hard to start with, and you can go 1 second lower, 1 second lower, and yeah, it just until you find yourself going for the Untied. So.
I mean, for the record, at this point, your times page is 46 bops on Sarah compared to 9 and 5 draws.
He's going to be crying, I'm sure.
One of the other things we haven't talked about. I'll go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was only going to say I no longer have a bop on everyone but Carl. I used to be able to say that, but now it's a bop on everyone but Carl and Callie.
Yes.
So that number will be going down. So hopefully by the end of the year, I'm hoping to get 21, and then I can actually say I have a bop on everyone.
Everyone. Be pretty handy. One of the things that we haven't talked about yet is SDS. So you were a founding father of SDS.
I was indeed. I've got to be honest, I forget who. Was it with a Spicy and you made the server? Is that right?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Yes, I thought that was right. It could easily have been with you and you made the server. Yes, yeah. And I guess there's something similar in that. I think I was reflecting on this when I was making my tea. Something similar, I suppose, I see between like the Frig Pap in TASPAP and the Estes. You know, it's like you're getting it yourself, but it's not. You know, it's for a wider community goal, and also it's very nice that, you know, like it's at the low end of the spectrum, and in fact, players who are good can't be part of Estes because you know, some of them don't have any Estes times, you know. So yeah, no, I think Estes is incredible, and it's very funny. Like, you know, it's a good meme. And yeah, it's got, you know, that element of like tidying up or whatever, because we've still got a few people like Sterling with a point on, what was it on? Is it?
Oh, Frigate 25.
Yes, that's right. Has that died? Probably not quite dead. And then Caverns 00 for me is a quintessential Estes time, because I only play it to get Estes.
Every time there's a new SDS time, get it.
Yeah, so I need to go back to that. So yeah, it's nice because some of these, yeah, certain levels. So Caverns 00 is probably a standout one. You can really, you're not let's playing it, but you haven't really got the strat down or whatever, you know.
You don't have to push every single frame out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and yeah, you know, you're cleaning up at the same time. Yeah, no, it's
because I mean, when
it's a good
Samo got
joke,
the PTRs, which wasn't that long ago, it's kind of 2.5 years ago at this point. But it was 2.5 minutes or 2 minutes 35 or something was the PTR that Samo got on Cavs 00. You know, so it's come down a long way since then.
Yeah, that's absolutely nuts. But yeah, and also in an IL game, it's kind of, at least for me, it encourages me to play some other levels.
Yeah.
Um,
Other than the 3
so-
frigate difficulties.
So you can discover that you actually quite like something. Like it may even have been through Estes that I discovered Egypt.
Right.
I think it's a bit of a hidden gem. I'm quite fond of it. I mean, I've gone off it since I've suddenly found that I can't shoot the Barons anymore. But yeah, I guess in a kind of frigaty sense, I think it's a little overlooked. And I overlooked it for quite a long time, I think.
Yeah, and you're not going to find an ally for Egypt here. I think Egypt
Oh
is
dear.
my worst times across the board. I think my Egypt times are the only
Oh
ones that are
yeah.
ranked outside of 200.
God. Yeah. I feel. Yeah, I've definitely spoken to you about it before. I was like, oh, you'll get 50 in 10 minutes or something.
Probably if I learn how
But
to
yeah,
play the level
I
and
think
actually play it.
recently. Let me check this on the pointless times. I think recently they've all gone. Yeah, nothing 5.0 is 5x is points anymore. You
Right,
have to get
49.
4x. So yeah, and even that's not points on agent. So that happened quite recently. I think it must have been 00 that
What a world.
0050 died recently.
What a world that we live in.
Yeah.
We're not that long away from living in a world with fully decomped PD and maybe GE, because I know that your eliteness is obviously working on the PD decomp. I think he's ahead of the GE guys. Do you expect to see any shiny new toys coming out of that you might be able to play around with?
Yeah, for sure. It's a bit interesting because obviously it happens on the down low, so I think people don't necessarily hear too much about it. But PD is very much your eliteness's project. He's determined to work on it by himself and not you could easily, if someone said that to you. I mean, I didn't have a great awareness of these kind of things, but someone, if I cut your eliteness out of my memory for a minute, someone could, I think, spearhead such a decomp project. But the idea of someone doing it by themselves is laughable, really. And yet he's just torn through it. I mean, genuinely, it's incredible. I've definitely met some pretty technically impressive people in my time. But your eliteness is up there. I don't comprehend really how he does it so fast. Because I dabbled in the Golden one. I only started. I think it was when I went out to the US. I landed. I was like, right, let's go. And then I didn't have any work to do for the first couple of weeks or something. So I was like, well, I've been meaning to get involved with the decomp, but I never have time. So I was like, oh, let's have a look at it. So there's some stuff that I've from reversing it where I would have told you that when you reverse it, pretty much what the code does. You have I suppose equivalent code would be the right word. So I looked in quite a lot of detail how Boris navigates when he runs away from you on bunker one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and I'd made that quite clean in my project, with all the little functions that are involved in that and such. So I was like, I know these functions back to front. So obviously I'll smash it out of the park. I'll just copy and paste this, play about a little bit and Bob's your uncle. So you can see where it's going. I tried that and basically, you put your code in for the function, and then there's quite a nice little tool that so it compiles it and then compares your assembly code to the existing one in a meaningful way, with some nice colors. So if there's I don't know how familiar you are, but there's computer processor has registers where it can store things. So you might have the right instruction, but it's using the wrong registers. So, it's doing like, okay, I'll take A and B and add them together, but I'll put them in D instead of putting it in C or something. So those are like kind of the lesser errors you can get. So they show up in like orange or something.
That's where
and
you're
they're
like getting functionally the same outcome, but you're not achieving it indirectly the same way.
Yeah, so you haven't got the actual hard match. And the nice thing about the hard match is it's trivial to say my code's equivalent because it compiles to the same with the same compiler. So it's guaranteed equivalent. Whereas you can have code like what I've produced when I've understood Boris, that I can claim to you that it's equivalent. But yeah, there's no.
It doesn't pair 1-to-1 with the actual assembly
Exactly.
code of
Yeah,
the game.
the 1-to-1 match. Yeah, it's not there. Yeah, so I'm working, and even basically I started with like the big function, and I was like, all right, let's step it down a bit. Let's start with some of these smaller ones, and even some of the small things. Basically, anything that involved a loop, I just could not do for the life of me. And sometimes I made some great realization, and then I was like, oh, okay, so I can do this, and I'd improve it a little bit. But it was just so difficult, and yet almost as fast as you can type, your eliteness seems to just churn out matching code. So it's a real eye opener for me that like the step from having reversed it and really understood, because like I've done things, I've like said, oh yeah, I've inferred that like there's this custom structure or whatever, and I've inferred like, yeah, this is how it's used, and this part of the structure is padded, and I've to my naive mind at the time, I was like, I've understood this very well, and then yeah, all you have to do is copy your code into their little compiler matcher thing and look at the amount of red on the screen. Yeah, no, your eliteness has got a special place on some sort of podium in my head of decomp people who I've met.
Particularly
So
impressive
yeah,
technically.
yeah, very I mean, it's a very specialized kind of thing, but no, he's very good at it. So yeah, I think the thing is, especially on the PD side, your eliteness seems not especially interested in trying to hunt for things in his code that he produces. So I suspect it's going to take someone after he hits 100% to actually go into some effort to try and understand some of these things, which I don't especially see myself filling that role. I got kind of interested briefly in the in that sliding glitch recently because I'd always assumed it was very uninteresting.
Yep.
But I think my mind was in a sort of task puppy state. I can't remember what I was thinking about, but yeah. Then someone posted about it, and I was kind of peering at the videos and trying to come up with some kind of theory on how it might be working. So I think yeah, PD for sure. Definitely, there's stuff in there. And then the GED comp, I see it. It depends because the thing is, yeah, there's one guy who also, yeah, nice guy and seems pretty capable, but he's working on it, the GoldenEye one, also a little bit in isolation. Because I was like, oh, I'm interested in looking at this thing maybe, and he was like, oh, then you need to come work on my branch, and I was a bit peeved that it wasn't all in one place,
One
sort of thing.
project, yeah.
But yeah, he's a good bloke. But yeah, I don't know how much progress he's making. But the GoldenEye little percent thing is ticking along a lot slower than the PD one. So I think the real question that will decide how long it takes to complete is whether your eliteness moves to GoldenEye when he finishes PD. Which I would be much more interested in, and the kind of timeline because it's still, I don't know, well over a year away from the PD one probably. I haven't followed it recently, but 2 years would probably be a good guess. So I may be a lot more interested in working on the GE decomp when Your Eliteness looks at moving his work from PD over. And I can see a lot of stuff having a lot more light shone on it in GE.
Yeah.
For example, like this grenade throw that I mentioned on the Frig 00 path and potentially on PAL on console. That actually works in quite a mysterious way because you throw it through a wall, which is generally not good for explosions. And the explosion starts and it grows, and it can reach the guard, but it won't kill him yet. It won't kill him until the explosion reaches the room that it thinks it's in. Because it went through a wall, it gets a bit confused about what room it thinks it's in. And so it kind of reaches past the guard to that room and then goes, oh, okay, so I can bleed from the room I was in into the room that the guard was in. And he's inside my explosion. And then he dies. So especially with throwing objects, there's quite a lot of strangeness to whether or not they get to where they're meant to get to. And when they explode, whether their explosion is kind of like actually there or not. So yeah, you could put a lot of this is possible, that's not possible to some of that stuff.
So does that mean do you think that it's going to help our understanding of what we already know about the game, like rather than creating new things?
I think for the most part, yes. Because I feel like one of my main aims in a way is to have already imagined these things that we could potentially find in the decomp. I like to think that most of them I'll already have dreamt up. But it would be foolish to say that there's not going to be anything super new. So it's one of those funny ones, isn't it? It's like after this dam, there's a big break on dam. You could ask, like, is this the last big sequence break, or whatever, big cut, or hypothetical cut, I suppose we should still call it at the moment. So I suppose, it's a similarly hard question to that question. It's like, are we going to see another one?
It's the most recent thing we've thought of.
Yeah, it's like, well, I don't think so, but like that one caught me blindside. And yeah, in the decomp, one thing I remember having big disagreement with someone over this. It's like once the decomp's done, like that won't be it. You've still got to actually find the things that are written there.
Yes.
So so it'll be some time down the line, but yeah, who knows? That's the thing. Who knows? I mean, it comes back to what I was saying about these kind of things. I feel like irritate some of the, or at least used to, some of the guys who used to be around. Kind of the idea of speculating about something that some potential strat or something. I think seems to somehow strike a nerve in the elite. But yeah, I think there's surely there'll be something quite new. As kind of astounding as that even seems to me now, like almost inconceivable. I think surely there must be something quite new hiding there somewhere. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
If you spend time dreaming up ideas about what you can do in GoldenEye levels and thinking about things creatively and thinking about them from different angles and things like that, is that a skill or an experience that you have that you use in other parts of your life, or is that like just just a gaming tassing GE thing?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting question. I think definitely there are quite a few, not such a surface level, but I think definitely there's something similar in my work because I very much do my work because I enjoy it, and I think it's very similar with GoldenEye. There's some kind of, perhaps I would like to call it technical creativity or something. where at work very much I make breakthroughs. So there's something to that there, where it's like if you can dream up a new way of thinking at it, but without going full Sterling and saying, "Oh, what if this is possible?"
Not,
you're
not
very
the
much you're
galaxy
always
brain shit.
directed. Yeah, you don't let your brain sort of spill out. It's gotta be contained. Here's my crazy idea. Like Arlene in the Bug, right? I mean, even I remember part of my reason I made that thread. I mean, you can see from its like structure or whatever. It was inspired by Icy's one. I think I call mine my addendum.
Yes.
Something strat addendum, and his is the something strat compendium.
Yeah. Unused.
But in there,
strat compendium or something like that.
yeah, I can't. Again, it was a meme. I'll do like a good meme in a name or something. But yeah, very much that was kind of like, well, yeah, inspired by his, but also inspired by things that I saw in his that I was like, well, that's just not true, or at least I thought like, I don't think that's true. So I can't remember if it was there or perhaps somewhere else, but I do remember Icy saying like, oh, you can't lean the bug because it won't land,
Yep.
And I was like, I don't think this is true. I was like, I don't think it's true. It doesn't seem like it should be true. You have like a room down the side of the boat. There's like a slim. You can just kind of see rather than go up the steps like on Agent. You can actually just see like there's a little bit of deck to the left of it. Like you can't walk along it, but you can see down there.
Yes.
So like there's that room linking it, and then over the top there's the rooms linking it, and then from the
and just for clarity, you're talking about rooms in the context of the way that GE structures its levels, not
the technical word. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know, compartments or something. But yeah, the good word is portals. There's portals that link the rooms. So if you couldn't see through a series of portals to that end of the boat, then sure, I'd be more inclined to believe that it wasn't possible or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then exactly. But you're still keeping yourself contained, and then you go away and you say, okay, I shall find out whether this is possible or not. And I already had to hand something for tracking things that you throw. It like draws in the emulator. It draws like the path that the object takes. So it's easy for me to find out like whether it was going through the helicopter and not landing or whatever, or whether I was aiming too high. Yeah, and then sure enough, it wasn't too hard to hit the lean in TAS once I found the distance sort of thing. So yeah, I think there's a big bit to like the stuff. I mean, it's much easier to make these kind of statements after TASPAP of like, there were a few things that I looked at for TASPAP that we didn't find something. Because yeah, I tend to try and be guided by some kind of, I wouldn't call it instinct, but it's kind of, there's got to be evidence that there's something there to be found. So I'd say, yeah, that kind of somehow sort of directed creativity. I think, yeah, is a part of what I try and do in GoldenEye and what I do at work. So yeah, definitely something in common there.
And but the only topic that I think you've breached that we haven't kind of talked about was around TASPAP and B2 and JD.
Yes, yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier, but then said that I reckoned it would come up at some point. But yeah, I mean, we touched on a lot of the ideas behind, like not telling him basically earlier with kind of this, heavy no leaks kind of thing. But I think one of the main things, which is much more, I think, agreeable, is that like, I mean, we found our feet. We were kind of we're all like falling over from finding the B2 thing, and then he was already up and away streaming,
Yep.
and he was very hard. He was like, "This is it. I'm grinding now. I'm head down, going for this record." But the main thing was that it seemed like he was going to get it. I mean, yeah, Goose has made nonsense comments on it, but like, I don't know how many hours it was he put in, but what was it, like 40 or something? It was 2 weeks, I seem to remember. But he played, quite long sessions. But it's very easy on this side of let's call it 40 hours, to say like, oh, he didn't get it, and there was 40 hours of him not getting it that you could have prevented. But like, we weren't to know that, at the time, because he was so close. Like,
It could have
it
been
did
any
seem
run.
like, yeah, exactly, any run. So like that was definitely a big thing. That it seemed like the damage would only be 10 hours or whatever. And but yeah, then also I wasn't, you know, I wasn't casting it like I thought JD was gonna just leak it. But given especially how like focused he was, how he was like, right, this is it, I'm grinding for this, you know, I'm gonna get this next. I'm not stopping till I get 23, sort of thing. For him then to probably be a little bit peeved and then be like, "Oh no, I'm streaming something else now." Perhaps it was too cautious, but certainly I do think if the strat had not even been leaked, but if people had been like, "Oh, there's this thing called TASPAP," and Ted's heavily involved, I still think one thing would have led to another. You would have had Goose shouting his mouth off on the forums about, I don't know, potentially us sitting on it for years or whatever he was spouting at the time. And yeah, you would have had people who were like, I'm not playing until TASPAP releases, which was all well and good when TASPAP was 3 weeks away. But when we found that B2 thing, TASPAP was like 4 months away, 3 months away. So yeah, it was it was caution.
Was there a fear in there that because he seemed so set on that, if you had have told him and he stopped playing B2 or he joined the Horde and got that, people would have been onto that JD had joined a Horde for B2?
I think, yeah, it was, like I say, I'm not saying that JD would have been like, oh, there's this strat. But yeah, nonetheless, he might have been like, perhaps, I mean, you'd be asking a lot for him to, I don't know, invent some random reason of, oh no, my dog has got ill, so I've stopped playing or something. And he's bound to say to, close friends or whatever, like, oh no, that's not a real reason or whatever. And also, yeah, it's worth mentioning, I was against bringing him into TASPAP with it, because we'd had this very hard principle of people came in for some purpose, and I think I might even have said the words like, "Oh, sympathy is not a good purpose" or something, because yeah, literally every person. I think the only one you can really say was a stretch, and it still wasn't a stretch, is Sean, which was because me and Sean were talking so much. I seem to remember, yeah, I forgot the timeline on this a bit. I was kind of hoping he'd be in chat. But I think I was saying like, oh, I'm talking to an unnamed person about going for 22 with reverse hostages or something like this.
Yep.
And then later on, I completely slipped up with my unnamed person thing, and I was like, "Oh yeah, so I was just sitting in stream with Berg," and then Sean was like, "Yeah, you fucked up." But even so, yeah, it became completely impractical, like keeping Sean separate, sort of thing. But even so, I was still like, we need some thing that you're going to say like you're going for. And he was just getting involved with the tassing stuff. So the original aim actually was for him to tass some new ideas on streets. And then obviously ended up tassing Damn 00134. Very, very nice tass. So, even Sean, it was that's the greatest stretch that there was of like including someone without specific purpose. And certainly he still, fulfilled it. He swapped streets out for damn double O, but it's very nice to us. Yeah, so coming back to the original point, so I was against bringing JD actually into the Horde. So yeah, he would have been on the edge of it. So yeah, I mean, it was mostly my thinking. We did talk about it. I mean, every time we streamed, we just used to sort of collectively groan, and then quite a few of us would sit in the stream, sort of praying that he got it soon. But the main reason really was that he was so close. So at the end of the day, what is like 10 hours damage, and 10 hours of, I mean, the end of the level still applies. Like, I didn't get 21 quick because I'm bad at the level as a whole. So yeah, they were the main thoughts about it.
So I guess let's do the pre-announcement for the pre-announcement of TASPAP 2. Like, when do people need to stop playing until between now and 2024?
So yeah, so it's only a joke. People got, I think I've touched on it quite a few times in this, but like, yeah, anything that has a name from me is generally a joke. Is a good way to go. So I can see it being a thing. It'll be quite a different thing. It'll be much closer to a normal Horde. I'll have to do a lot less misleading in any forum posts I make about it. Instead of what was it? I came up with a great kind of phrase or something like, "Oh yeah, we've got nothing game breaking like B2 or something," which is technically true. It's like even the damn stuff isn't like B2. It's not on console yet. So yeah, it was, but it's only a stretch. But no, I see. I mean, it'll be realizing. I certainly would. One of the main priorities in my head, though I probably wouldn't want to play for it, so we'd have to find someone who actually wants to play for it. But would be to get the damn stuff on console. So maybe that would be a grand ambition. Maybe that would be too much. But that kind of thing will be something to see in it. But yeah, I've gone with. I mean, I like another thing. Yeah, that's worth saying about TASPAP is when me and Berg came together and we're going to make it. One of our main things. I mean, we weren't like, oh, let's have a horde of new strats, because I mean that's not what it was then, because we hadn't found all new strats. So it was, let's have a horde small. It was always going to be short, and like really punchy. Like everything in it was going to be serious, and yeah, even to the extent that like we were drawing distinction between, like I've said, these hordes that are like, here's our personal achievements. We cared about these times and we went and achieved them, and quite possibly we worked together. Whereas TASPAP was always meant to be like, these times are fundamentally good. Like you can't, you don't need to be like, oh, it's nice that he got that because he was going for it. It was always meant to be like, no, these are strong times, kind of thing. But it was also always meant to be a very short horde. I mean, I was very hard from pre Bunker 2 even, that like August was going to be our release date. So yeah, I like the idea at the moment, for a start, like a breather. So if it does even happen, not until next year, because that seems quite nice. Like, have a good break. I don't know when. I mean, maybe not even next year, maybe the year after. But also the time spent hoarding will be very short. So.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's only a joke at the moment. And yeah, I don't know. The roster could well change.
Is there any kind of stories that you wanted to talk about that we haven't covered so far?
I think we've got good. I think maybe like yeah, we have hit 3 hours. Well,
yeah.
That's quite long. I've gone through a lot of water just keeping my voice going.
You done pretty well.
That's why I had to make that loo trip. But yeah, I think maybe like TASPAP reaction sort of thing. Because I thought it was. I mean, I kind of expected some negative feedback. I was a little bit braced for some kind of negative reception, but I was amazed it just wasn't there really. But I've watched the TASPAP with voice chat too many times now. I think it must be like 3 or 4 times in full. And yeah, I think it's just I thought it's quite interesting as well how I was saying that like the frigate 23s were like my favorite part.
Yeah.
But then somehow like the reaction sort of put a little bit of a down on that because I was like, oh, the reaction wasn't what I hoped for, So I thought that
You're
was quite
hoping for it to be
interesting.
wild.
I mean, yeah, like I don't know. To me, yeah, that like I say, that was my favorite part. But I guess yeah, it was like, oh, this thing that we knew about is like JD's reaction, like, oh, it is a thing. Um, but I can interpret it as stunned silence, and then I'm happy with it. But I did love particularly. You get my favorite line of all time in it with the yes, it's the end. When
What?
I think this was you, right? When the credits come up. Maybe it's not you. I thought it was you.
Oh
When
no,
the like final "it's the end" comes up, you just have this like immense relief. Like, oh yes, there's no damn console run. There's no ook console run. Like, thank God.
I remember having the reaction that I was really glad that there was no post credits run. Not because not out of a sense of relief, but just to break that thing. Like it's the same as seeing if you go to see a band play and you know that those motherfuckers are going to come back out and play 3 more songs as an encore. So fuck that.
Yeah,
Encores suck. We
yeah.
don't. Not every horde needs to have a post credits run. Like it's just you watch the credits and it's fucking done. So that's why I was reacting quite strongly to the end
Oh,
there.
okay. Even so, it's funny to me to like misinterpret that as like, thank God that it's over. I just found that hilarious. I cracked up even at the time in voice. I cracked up when you said that. So yeah, that's definitely a firm favorite. And I think second was which I've started quoting now is Colton going Egypt time, baby, at the end of the tile warp.
Well, he's
I might
gone and
start
done
this.
that. He's got 45s
Yeah.
now, doesn't he?
Yes, he's got his sweep recently. Finished his sweep a couple of days ago, I think.
Yep.
Perhaps Friday it was.
There he is in the N5
Yeah,
Nord.
really nice to see. Yeah, he's at the bottom there. So yeah, it's funny. And yeah, it's interesting that you're strongly against the no run because that was why it was by popular demand in the TestPub server. Because originally I didn't do a lot of the editing until quite late of what I did, and yeah, originally I was thinking to have the damn TAS's post credits.
Yep.
But there was very strong, pretty much unanimous opposition to a post credits run. And then after that, we had the idea of Callie's putting Callie's damn fail before it. So yeah, so you're definitely not alone in that opinion. So I suppose we've broken the chains now. Unhordes are free to
That's
to
it.
actually have credits at the end of their horde. I reckon I wouldn't be surprised if people try and refresh the tradition. But I suppose at least now there is some uncertainty. Whereas yeah, it had just got to the point like absolutely everyone was expecting post credits, or at least had some chance in their head that they thought there was going to be post credits.
Yeah, there needs to be some form of jeopardy there, or else it's just yeah. Again, those motherfuckers are going to come back on stage and play 3 more songs, so you know what's happening.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think I think they were the main reactions that I really liked. I was very pleased because I did the not the intro, that was Be Down. That was well enjoyed, but I kind of skitted together and it was also my idea to have the Turbo 21, which was the first time we ever got for TASPAT. That was like the seminal time of TASPAT. To have that, and I put it behind the most obvious cinema that I'd had. So I'd actually been keeping an eye out for this when I played. So it's like the fourth bullet hidden, and it's like a really big hit splat on the taker in the bridge on 2.3. So you can really see like, oh shit, this is the 21, and then just hard cut to the and it's in full, which is even better. So you can like in wide, and it just hard cuts to full, and then he turbos it around. And yeah, I think it's who's this losing their minds? But yeah, someone's losing their mind in the voice chat, and then their laugh of like anticipation changes to like just genuine laugh of being trolled by the Turbo 21. That was another good bit I was very proud of. But yeah, I won't. We're at 3 hours. I won't talk about TASPAT too much.
Greg Mike asks, are you going to see a damn piggyback strat on console complete sometime soon? Or did Boss ever get a complete in his attempts?
No, so it's only him damaging he damages the alarm beforehand and then he hops off.
Oh, I see.
So he got 2 hits, I think, is the most. But I have to say, yeah, people have kind of looked at that and there's a way of like dismissing it. I think people are over eager to dismiss it as possible. But you can literally see in his video, like he fires a lot of shots too high that you could correct with 2.3.
Was he playing 2.4?
I don't think he was, but he just sits there at his angle that he's set, but like then it head roll drifts too high. Yep. So I think certainly a big part of it will be constantly you're fighting as head roll goes about to keep it level, because otherwise you've got the head roll spread in 2 directions rather than just the one. But I think it, unlike Ook, which, like I say, I think I would accept may never happen. I do think the damn piggy strat is just inevitable. But near future, I don't think so. So, like I say, if I make TASPAP 2, I think it will be on the agenda. But whether A, I'll find someone to play it, B, yeah, it happens, is a bit of another question.
I mean, certainly it looks like Callie thinks that it's possible, because otherwise he would have kept going with the double window strat for 115.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that was another interesting one. Is I did feel quite bad when I found it. I was surprised there was not negative toward me, but just negative toward the universe when we like showed that in TASPAP, because it's a bit of a bitch, because it's quite a loved, especially 00. It's quite a storied, loved, hated. An essay is, I think, just loved by some people, slightly crazy people. But it's kind of I suppose, yeah, maybe it's, again, we're getting into kind of the world of tears and such, and I can see Polly holding a knife above me. But it's kind of a level, I'd say, kind of like intermediate players tend to come around to, like damn essay, because getting points on it is quite hard. But yeah, I'm thinking, like Kredos played it recently. I can't think what he played for, 119 maybe.
Yeah, 119 probably sounds about right. Maybe 118.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of quite like, because it's like strafey shooty level, so it's very yeah, very sort of
Kredos got 118 recently.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's good points.
Yeah,
So,
81.
Wow, who knows? Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of not a problem in the sense, people like him are still even if it happens. Say there was the Untied Sim there now, with it, people like him are still going to want to play for 118 with the normal strat. Um, but yeah, for people going for the record, I think yeah, potentially there'll be a couple of people who could be starting to play right now for the record or whatever, who I think will be put off.
Yep.
Which is like a shame in that sense, but like what can you do? Just it's the way the cookie crumbles. But I kind of like it. It's kind of appealing as a strat. It's kind of cool. So, but we'll see how hard it is. See how much I like it when I find out no one else in Taspap 2 wants to play it, and then I have to try and stay on that guy's fucking head, and he keeps tossing me off as he spots me or whatever. And yeah, so we'll see. Maybe in a year I'll hate it and want to ban the strategy.
Well, thanks for coming on and having a chat. It has been quite a long one. But
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
An interesting one. So,
what was the longest? I think there's been one over 3 hours. I hope.
Samo's at like nearly 5, so you're not even competing on that
Oh,
same
yeah.
sort of scale.
Oh, that's good.
This might be the longest not in person one though.
Oh, that's true.
This might be the longest on Discord VC, which I mean it's now 1:15 in the morning my time. So
yeah, I was listening out to your voice to try and gauge how tired you're getting, but I figure I'm talking at you. You can always have a little nap in the 5 minutes in the question or something.
just shut up. No, look, if I wasn't interested, I would have gone about an hour and a half ago. But you seem to be on good form as well.
Oh, cheers. Yeah, no, it's I've had the tea, so got the tea in there.
You're all set. But yeah, we might kill the stream there. So thanks for hanging out, everybody, and thanks for coming on and having a chat, Ted.
Yes, yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot.